Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item is Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Remove your caps if you have them. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Thank you. Tonight, this evening, the invocation is given by Commissioner Joseph Romano. Commissioner Romano.
Thank you, Chair. If you would bow your heads, please. Dear Lord, bless our elected officials. Give them the knowledge and wisdom to do what is right for all residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Romano. I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved by Romano.
Support.
Been a motion made and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes carry. Item 5 is approval of the minutes dated March 17th, 2021. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved, so. Support Wallace.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Presentations. We have presentations for the 2022 Volunteer Recognition Program Awards Ceremony. We're going to honor the volunteers, all of you, by district. And we're going to start with Commissioner Nard. Commissioner Nard, Commissioner for Warren, first term commissioner, doing an outstanding job for all of you down on the Warren.
Good evening, everyone. First volunteer is Susan Lally. Is she here? Okay. I'm still going to recognize Susan. Susan volunteers regularly at Pearline Elementary School in her childhood class. Her child's class, I'm sorry. She's a tremendous asset to the school community. She volunteers for everything they need. She helped organize their popsicles with the principal program. Susan is kind, caring, and compassionate. She always puts the kids first. The next one is Jackie Moore. Is Jackie Moore here? Jackie volunteers at the First United Methodist Church of Warren. She is involved with Gleaners Food Bank, McCrest Planning and Preparation, church cleanups, mission projects, and everything else. Okay. The church depends on Jackie to help run the mission project smoothly, and she does so with great sense of humor and good nature. Jackie has a willingness to work hard, has a cheerful disposition, and strong commitment to church and community. Jackie Moore.
Good evening. How's everyone doing tonight? It's so wonderful to see all your smiling faces without masks on. I just want to thank all of you for being here, for supporting our volunteers as well too. I have the distinguished honor to nominate several outstanding residents in Macomb County that are making a difference. I'm going to read off your name and then a little bit about you, and then you can come up and receive your certificate. So the first volunteer is Terry Braden. Terry's efforts have made families against narcotics events better and saved them many hours of work. She is the epitome of what a volunteer should be, and FAN is a better organization because of her. Terry, who lost her own son to addiction in 2017, has helped countless individuals and families find recovery from addiction. She turned her tragedy into something positive by giving back to the community each and every day. Terry is kind, compassionate, caring, and trustworthy. She makes people who are going through a very difficult time feel like they're not alone and that someone cares, because Terry does care. She is all about helping other human beings who have been impacted by addiction, helping them to find hope, healing, and peace. Please help me recognize Terry Britton. All right, our next volunteer is Robert C. Love Jr. Robert is the financial secretary and faithful navigator for the Father Kramer's Knights of Columbus. He's responsible for dues and membership roles. He leads the 4th degree volunteers at various events and accounts for the funds. Robert keeps the financial books of the council in order. His work with this charitable organization benefits the community with programs such as Toys for Tots, American Heart Association, and Vets Returning Home. Robert is a leader, an organizer, and has a servant's heart. Please help me. A big thank you to Robert. I don't think Robert was able to join us today, but we'll make sure he gets his certificate. Next, I would like to share with you Curtis and Suzanne Oshtush. Curtis and Suzanne volunteered their time with Harvest Time Christian Fellowship. Just in 1 month's time, they will distribute food to over 2,000 people. A typical month for them is serving 500 hot meals, getting 10 people into shelters and off the street, collecting and dispersing hundreds of coats, hats, gloves, and socks. They have volunteered their time for over 30 years. They serve every person with compassion, generosity, dignity, and respect. Curtis and Suzanne are dedicated to helping others, especially those that are in most need. Thank you so much. Curtis and Suzanne. All right, and our next volunteer is Beverly Taylor. Beverly is a volunteer at Woodside Bible Church, specifically in the food pantry. She heads the pantry, garners food, and delivers it to the church from many organizations. She seeks out volunteers and coordinates everything so that they don't have to hire someone. Many families have been given much needed food over the years due to her efforts. Beverly is hardworking, organized, competent, self-motivated, and trustworthy. Please help me thank Beverly Taylor. All right, and I have one more. I'd like to nominate Richard Wiseman, my neighbor. Richard is a dedicated volunteer at Michigan Humane. His work includes laundry, such as washing the blankets and towels, you and I, cleaning animals' dishes, assisting staff with feeding, and handing out pet food to those in need. He also volunteers at PetSmarts in Roseville, feeding kittens that are up for adoption and cleaning their cages, and answering questions from potential adopters. He takes on the work of staff so that they can use all of their time to care for the animals. Richard is caring, compassionate, not only to the people he's around, but the animals too. Thank you so much, Richard. All right, thank you so much.
What's up, volunteers? I'd like to thank everybody who came out to support volunteers this evening. I think you guys make it more worthwhile for them than any of us ever could. The first person I am honoring this evening is Louis Kaloya. I got that right, I practiced that. Louis volunteers his time with Life Handicap Outdoor in St. Clair Shores. They coordinate Easter baskets, a fishing tournament, and Christmas baskets for challenged children. Lewis's involvement has helped sustain their group for over 20 years. The Easter and Christmas baskets they put together help the community during some of the most challenging times for these families. Lewis is also a Knights of Columbus volunteer, as well as volunteering for many other deserving organizations. His generous spirit benefits the community greatly. Come on up, Lewis. Thank you. Okay, are they in the bag? He's got flyers for volunteers for the fish outing. Maybe
This is for the 28th annual Light Handicap Outdoors. If anybody would like,
He is one smart guy, I'll tell you what.
if anybody would like to volunteer or have another child attend or adult, it's open to everybody. I'd like to pass one out. If you just want to see me, or I'll pass them out to you.
Okay. So I don't know if Gary Hillegas is here. Is he here this evening? Okay, I don't see him. Gary was nominated by our very own county program, Meals on Wheels, and our Office of Senior Services. Gary goes above and beyond the typical volunteer commitment with Meals on Wheels program, delivering hot meals homebound 3 days a week, weekly, and 5 days a week, bi-weekly. A usual commitment is 1 day a week, bi-weekly. He is also ready and willing to help pick up shifts when a substitute driver is needed, and even last minute. In addition to delivering these meals to our senior community, Gary takes his time to converse with each of his clients. He genuinely cares about the people he is helping, and they know that, they can feel that. They always look forward to seeing Gary again. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Excuse me, but I still think I'm 25 when I work outside, and I learned the hard way. I am not 25 anymore. So excuse me for not standing, but I want to let you folks to realize you're in the company of the elite. All of you, you volunteers, you're the people that when things are asked to be done, you guys step forward, because you always hear people complaining. Is that better? You always hear people saying, well, yeah, you know what? I don't like this, or I don't like that. Well, you guys do better than that. You say, well, I'll volunteer. Let's see what I can do about it. And you do. And that's why a lot of you have been named as volunteers of the year, because you're willing to step up and do what other people talk about or bitch about, excuse me, but they don't want to do it. And you guys and girls do it, and we certainly do appreciate it. So my volunteer is Mr. James Francis. Jim is a heartfelt volunteer for the parish of St. Blaise. Throughout the pandemic, better? Am I breaking up on this? My mother next to me is telling me what to do. Throughout the COVID pandemic, James went shopping for many elderly neighbors. He is widely considered the go-to neighbors for any neighborhood problems. In fact, the church community has had numerous requests for his services. The church's senior residents were able to maintain their safety without going into public service during the uncertain times. Why do you keep pulling this down?
Because you don't listen.
Okay. Am I fading in and out? If I am, tell me. Okay. James is always ready to help out, and he also helps out the church finances and sings to the church choir. And on a side note, Jim has a garden second to none, and he supplies all the neighbors with their good stuff. So please join me with a hand for James Francis.
Good evening. Am I coming through? Okay, good. Fully extended. I would also like to take just a second to thank the families of the volunteers. I know the volunteers are getting a lot of recognition, but from my experience, the doers can't do if they don't have support at home. So thank you to all the families for all the support to the volunteers so they can do their thing. Appreciate it. The first volunteer that I have is Mr. Eric Brisky. Eric is an integral part of the Board of Property Management, the Youth Work Camp, and the Shine program at Christ Lutheran Church. His experience as an electrician has helped with numerous work projects at the church. His leadership with the Youth Work Camp has proven to help young minds and hands accomplish goals. His participation with the Shine program has touched lives of families in the Sterling Heights community by reaching out to serve those who need a helping hand with home and yard upkeep. Eric is dedicated to the cause, trustworthy, a skilled electrician, and has a good work ethic, and a devoted Christian. Mr. Eric Brisky. Thank you. The second volunteer is Mr. John Valero. Unfortunately, John has passed, but his wife Kim and 3 of his children and their spouses are here to receive this award honoring him. Mr. Valero impact not only with Trinity Lutheran Church social ministries, but with the entire community is still felt now, even as we honor his tremendous contribution posthumously. John assisted with the food ministry, McRest, the Salvation Army bell ringing, the free oil change program, and so much more. He joyfully led by example and served any and all the people in need, always showing love. He helped provide food to many ministries and created a network to help provide what was needed to serve the communities most in need. John always had a smile on his face and often took time to listen to, pray with those he served. His certificate is being presented to his wife, Kim, and their children. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I gotta say, this is my favorite commissioner board meeting of the year. It's just awesome, everything you guys do. I know others have said it, but from my heart, I truly mean it. Representing my district, Eddie Vecino. Eddie, come on up here. I told him since he's the only one in my district, he gets 20-minute speech. So it's Eddie volunteers to do the cooking, all the major fundraising events for the American Legion Post 351. You can see it on the back of his shirt. Such as Friday fish fries, various steak and spaghetti dinners. He spends countless hours preparing and then cooking the food. Eddie's great cooking is what draws people to these events, resulting in successful fundraising activities. No, you can't hand out a flyer without coming to his. Now I got off track here, Eddie. Anyways, this is especially apparent in 2021 when Post 351 was trying to make sure they were able to keep their post open due to the COVID pandemic. Even though Eddie had not served in the U.S. military, he has become an honorary member of the American Legion Post 351 in Utica. Due to his many years of volunteering and supporting many of the post events and fundraisers, Eddie leverages lifetime experience and a formal career as a chef, making delicious food that draws everyone to support this organization. Eddie, from my heart. Thank you. Next, Commissioner Chairman Brown.
Good afternoon. As was said, I've been doing this for a long time in these volunteer recognition dinners and events that we have. And what's amazing is every year I come up, I hear another organization that's serving our fellow Macomb County citizens. And it's really encouraging. There's a lot of bad news you see on the television every day, and sometimes you can get discouraged. But then you come to this, and you hear so many good people doing so many good things, so many different things, in so many different ways. It's just refreshing how good we people are in Macomb County. We take care of our own, and again, thank you all again for doing a good job for all of us. We've got several people I want to recognize. Steve Carlucino. Steve's a volunteer. His time at Four Angels. Steve volunteers his time at Fur Angels, leading and training and organizing dog therapy visits for nursing home residents. There's no small feat, and it involves 75 dogs. That's hard. It's like my house sometimes. Dog therapy has improved quality. It helps improve the quality of life for nursing home residents and staff. The community also benefits through these services because the population is easily isolated and they have many needs. So any service to them helps. Steve is generous, loving, and resident focused and driven to improve their lives through dog therapy. Steve, can you come on up? Steve, I butchered your name, so we have to forgive me. But
That's all right, it's Calcagno.
let's see, I wouldn't have got that. I have to say that 10 times before I got it right. But thank you so much, Steve, for your work. God bless you. Next person is Brian Conlon. Brian has been volunteering for the Older Persons Community Commission for about 12 years, greeting members as they come in, collecting money for workout fees, doing updates to sync their computer systems. Brian's contributions allow staff to tend to other duties, so they're not always bound to the front desk. He's dependable, so dependable that they don't think he's ever asked for a day off. He's friendly, and his computer skills are perfect to get the necessary duties completed. Brian, come on up. Brian, good to see you. Thanks for all your work you do. And I'm out of computer issues, so I'll be over to see you later tonight, okay? So thanks a lot. He's also my neighbor, and he's a good friend. God bless you, Brian. Another name that is difficult to pronounce. Al Griesbeck. Al works at the Greater Washington Historical Society, and he's unparalleled in his efforts. He designs welcome signs, organizes storage areas, builds shelves, and various other important tasks. Because of him, all items are stored better and organized, which helps everyone there do their work easier. Al is very energetic and a great provider of ideas to help improve this historical society. Al, are you here tonight? I don't think he is, but let's give him a round of applause. Next is Frankie Castella. Frankie is constantly volunteers his time and effort to help in any way he can at the American Legion Post 351. Whether it's cutting down trees along the property line to make room for a new fence, or stripping or polishing floors within the post. Since recent times have been tough at the post, he's had to rely on members to help rather than hiring people to take care of things. With Frankie's skills and help, the post has saved money, which in turn can be used to support local veterans. Frankie's always willing to help, and not only does he volunteer a lot at the post, he also spends countless hours volunteering at the Selfridge Museum. Even though Frankie hasn't served in the military, he wholeheartedly supports veterans through the post and other programs. Frankie, come on up. Congratulations. Congratulations, Frankie. And looking forward to that post. The self-repair museum's looking to have an entrance off the road now, so everyone can access that post without having to go through the base, which has always been an impediment to bring visitors in. So through the effort of the former base commander Slocum and our state delegation, they're right now seeking money to improve that base to allow a gate off of the road into the museum, so you'll even have more visitors to look after. So thank you and look forward to that day. Thank you. Next is my local treasurer, Mike Nicely. Mike volunteers at the Romeo Community Schools, lending his skills in photography and numerous game activities and events. His involvement supports the communications and celebrity recognition and marketing within the district. But more importantly, he documents memories and keepsakes. Mike is a community servant through and through, and he does all of this out of his own kindness of his heart, love for his community, and support for the students. Mike Nicely, come on up. You've always been there through the community for every event, often behind the scenes, taking photos and sharing with everyone in the community, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you do. Next is Sue Porter. Sue has run reminiscing and sing-along groups for residents at the Meadow Lodge in Richmond Nursing Home and Rehab Center for over 9 years. She brings residents back to the good old days and also collects magazines from the community for them. Even COVID couldn't stop her. She learned how to work Zoom and FaceTime at 78 years old, sings and reminisces and jokes with residents at the facility. She's brightened everyone's day each time she's called in. Sue is upbeat and positive force. She has the most contagious laugh, and she's just so kind and caring. She's always putting others before herself and looking for ways to connect with the residents through memories, songs, and jokes. Sue Porter, come on up. Where are you, Sue? You know, Sue, we could have used you during COVID too, when we were trying to learn all of our distance learning for our meetings. All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Sue. I'm gonna get pictures. There you go. Betty Regal. Betty's volunteered for many years, beginning with her parents who were residents at the Advantage Living Center of Armada. She remains committed to her good work, even now that her parents have passed, and continues to come to feed residents that need assistance. She also generously donates monetarily to ensure that the residents have what they need and want around them for the holidays. She has graciously donated a pergola, fountain benches, and umbrellas for residents in the outdoor area. Betty herself is a retired nurse for 40 years. She's compassionate, has empathy, and has loving nature, and is creative and crafty and very generous. The entire center adores Betty, and let's understand why. Come on up, Betty. Thank you, Betty. 40 years of being a nurse, so that's a real service to the itself, so thank you so much. Linda Wickersham. Linda's a volunteer at the Salvation Army program. She helps prep and serve meals each month to the community. She also spends countless hours on the phone coordinating much-needed volunteers for the Christmas program. Without her efforts, the Salvation Army would be hard-pressed to assist for those among them for the help, especially the low staff numbers due to the pandemic. Linda's warm presence is a warm presence about her, and she's always smiling. It's these qualities that encourage others to come in and help where needed. Linda, please come up. And Linda Wickersham has no relationship to our famous sheriff, Anthony Wickersham. But she's equally impressive. Thank you so much. Thank you. I've got a generous community. What can I say? A lot of people. Thank you so much.
I will will say, I represent Chesterfield, New Baltimore, Lenox, and New Haven, and I came in second. Our district came in second for the amount of volunteers, only to the chair. So I think there were some shenanigans going on there, and we added some at the end. So here we go. First, I'd like to honor Arthur Fires. Art volunteers as a lobby greeter at Henry Ford Macomb, and often guides and transports patients and visitors to their destinations in the facility. He helps the flow of getting patients where they need to be, when they need to be there. His customer service skills set the tone. Art has touched and eliminated anxiety and stress that is often felt by patients and visitors. Art is a calming presence to all he encounters, and his gentle, caring demeanor is felt by all in every exchange. I don't think Art is here, but let's give him a round of applause. Next is Stanley Godowski. I do. All right. Stanley has been a long-standing member of VFW Post 7573 for over 30 years. He is a person of unusual energy, maturity, and interpersonal skills. Stanley displays ingenuity in anticipating and meeting unexpected situations and possesses the unique quality of knowing what has to be done to promote the Veterans of Foreign Wars agenda. He is the leader of the Post Color Honor Guard and the Post Chaplain. He is a proud Vietnam veteran who spends countless hours promoting veteran awareness programs and advocating for veterans with the Department of Veterans Affairs. Stanley is a driving force within the Post and strongly encourages an environment that excels in nurturing new ideas within the membership. Congratulations, Stanley. Come on up. Next is Kathy Hoffer. Kathy is a founding church member of St. Luke's Episcopal Church and started St. Luke's Paper Pantry over 10 years ago. Kathy has been a key person in keeping this popular outreach program in existence. She actively supports the church's weekly paper pantry with donation in-kind products and assists in maintaining the supplies and issuing them to the over 500 families the program serves. Kathy's generosity in donations, funding, and time have provided paper and hygiene products to more Macomb residents each year. She is a great asset to the church community. I don't think Kathy is here either. See, we have the second most volunteers. They're all volunteers. Yeah. Let's give Kathy. Next is Michael Manchik, who I don't believe is here either. Mike was not only nominated for his volunteer work by one organization, but by two. Both the Meals on Wheels program, Office of Senior Services, right here in Macomb County, and for his work with the Salvation Army. First, he was nominated by the Meals on Wheels program for his continued service delivering hot meals to homebound seniors. Mike routinely delivers meals on some of the county's most rural routes and has continued to do so even with skyrocketing gas prices. He told the office that even with the higher gas prices, the seniors shouldn't suffer. He has been working with this program since 2016. Secondly, Mike was nominated by a person that he connected with back in 2020. There was a couple in Richmond that brought the Salvation Army money collection kettles to the area. After the gentleman had passed, his wife kept it up, but in 2020 she needed help. In stepped Mike. This past year, he completely took over the good work, putting out kettles, picking them up, coordinating volunteers to ring bells, etc. This not only helps the Richmond community, but his willingness to help really left an impact on the wife of the gentleman that started it all. Let's give a round of applause. And I have ridden along with Mike to do Meals on Wheels, and he does do some rural roads, and one of them is in Commissioner Sabatini's district, and the potholes down that street are huge, so we're gonna talk about that one. Next, William McPherson. He is here. William is a church teller, Sunday school teacher, Salvation Army lunch coordinator, server rep for the Vincent Chapel AME Church in Clinton Township. He is essential to their team. He jumps in wherever needed with no hesitation. His spiritual life is demonstrated daily. William is family and community oriented. He has a servant's heart and is willing to help any and everyone he comes in contact with. William does it with a cheerful and non-judgmental heart. Let's congratulate William.
We're sending pictures to our pastor, so I gotta get a good one here.
You better look right. one for me. Susan Rain. Susan is here. Susan is a member of Seroptimus International of Greater Macomb, an all-volunteer organization since 2014. She serves as secretary and represents this organization at MCAT, leading workshop sessions on human trafficking awareness. With Susan's leadership, this organization can serve more women and girls. Susan is passionate, dedicated, a true leader, organized, empowering, and inclusive. Let's congratulate Susan. And now I'll turn it over to Commissioner Wallace.
Thank you. It is definitely an honor to be able to recognize you all because you do what you do not for recognition. You do it out of the goodness of your heart. So this day is extremely important because this day is for you because you do so much for so many others. And I just want to say, I spoke with William from District 8 and he said, I don't know why anyone would nominate me to be here, and then there's a long list of things that you've done. So I obviously can see why you are here, along with so many others. And I'm going to move on to District 9. I have two people that we are recognizing. And when you come up to get your certificate, please take a second to turn around so you can get your picture taken. So first we have Carrie Jantz. Carrie is current president of the Aquinas Club of Clinton Township. He is always coming up with new fundraisers and community initiatives. Because of his work and new ideas, the Aquinas has been much more visible in the community, and I can attest to that. I see a lot, like on social media, just around town, you always see more about what you guys are doing, and it's so awesome. Even during the pandemic, you blessed a lot of kids that, you know, was stuck in a house, and then they were able to get out and ride bikes and do other things that you guys were able to bless them with. So that's awesome. Carrie has a positive attitude. He's knowledgeable. He's a team player, very innovative, and always looking to impact the community in a positive way. And I know he will continue to do that. So Carrie, can you please come up and get your
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Next, we have Brian Lamke. Brian is a vital member of the volunteer group at Macomb County Animal Control. He walks dogs, takes videos to help animals get adopted, socializes animals, and helps train them. He has helped immensely by working with some of the under-socialized animals. Brian is patient, hardworking, dedicated, and compassionate. And it takes a very special and caring person to work with the animals that sometimes have been left behind, some that are not very sociable, and to take time with them to make them ready to go into a home is so important. So, Brian, please come up and get your certificate. Great, now District 10. Bye.
Hello, I'm Commissioner Barb Zinner from District 10, Harrison Township and St. Clair Shores. It's a privilege to be here with you all. This is one of the things that makes it fun for our job to be here with you all. First, I'm going to speak about my coach. He isn't able to be here tonight. I don't think Mike will be here. I don't believe he's here. Mike volunteers almost every day as president of the Goodfellows of St. Clair Shores. He is a lifelong scout, master of St. Margaret Troop 1407, and an owner of a major area business. The Goodfellows feed and take care of approximately 125 families with 110 children a year, ages 1 through 15, with Christmas presents, clothing, etc. Mike is a great leader, always available, a great organizer, and just always gets it done. Isn't that wonderful? Sounds like the guy next door. Next, we have a lovely lady, and I know she's not here tonight. Beth is an important volunteer at St. Hubert Church in Harrison Township. She prepares and serves for service 6 days a week. She also helps with flowers for funeral services, all funeral services, and so much more. Beth has been doing these jobs a long time. The pastor and entire church community can count on her. She fills all the gaps. The community is lifted up by people like Beth. The church community is better because of her. Beth is a darling lady with a chuckle as she speaks that makes you smile and smile. She is positive, intelligent, and fun. And what's not in here by mistake is that she takes care of several areas of bookkeeping for the church, which is, we all know, is a lot of work. So Beth can't be here, but we will acknowledge her because she's also a great worker. Thank you. I do have one of my people here. I'm going to ask James King to please step up here. James King has been a Harrison Township on the Harrison Township Beautification Commission as a volunteer for 19 years, installing and maintaining gardens, and a township maintenance volunteer for 19 years as well, keeping the bike path clear of fallen debris, removing graffiti, and clearing litter. Jim is an advanced master gardener and composer and donates his time to Harrison Township to keep it looking beautiful and clean, along with educating others about gardening, composing, litter control, and tree planting. James is a tireless volunteer, stepping up regularly to help with any township committee also. I have seen Jim as he works. You could be walking, you could be driving along, and you look over, and we do have many. His wife Susan is I want to say the leader, so he goes also, but Jim is out bending over, fixing fences, cleaning things at next to people's houses that is related to the township. He does an incredible job. Susan is wonderful too, but the whole group is wonderful. But Jim and Susan, and Jim is here for the award as a nominee, and he does an incredible job. Always smiling, always happy, just like all of our volunteers. And I want to thank you very much, Jim. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, and I believe Commissioner Wallace.
Thank you, Barb. I don't believe any of us have read what's on the certificate we're passing out. So for the guests and family, I'll read it. It's Macomb County Board of Commissioners Outstanding Volunteer Award in recognition of your valuable contributions to the community. The Macomb County Board of Commissioners is pleased to recognize you as one of its outstanding 2022 volunteers of the year. So give all of you selves an applause. My first volunteer is Mike Batke. I've known Mike most of my adult life, if not longer. Mike's on the board of directors of the Roseville Optimist Club. He's the coordinator of the Optimist Elementary Essay Contest. And if you've ever tried to get 11 schools of 6th graders into a room for something, call Mike. He's also been on the Roseville Planning Commission. Mike's an excellent coordinator, great communicator, and works to increase membership as a volunteer. He is a friend of youth always bringing an optimistic attitude representing the church and the city. Mike is diligent, professional, certainly friendly, and truly cares about Roseville Church and City. Mike, it's an honor. Mike did ask me, did I wear this red tie to match my red face? And the answer is no, I didn't get this in Florida. I was sitting at a track meet for my granddaughter, 6 hours, the only day this year it's been 80 degrees. Try that. The track meet last night had a high of 39 degrees that we were sitting outside. So it's part sun, part wind. But Mike wanted to know. My next award is to Stephen Malik. Stephen is a dedicated volunteer to Bethesda Christian Church in Sterling Heights. He oversees a 12-step program called Overcomers Outreach that helps many men and women coming out of incarceration. This helps these men and women to get a fresh start after being jailed. It also helps to get them in different programs to support them. Stephen is committed, loyal, selfishness, and caring. He is constantly helping those who are less fortunate than most of us. So Stephen, please. Thank you, sir. Please. Don't get too close. Ironic, as I was reading this, I found out I had attended Bethesda for 5 years, and he knew many of the people and the coordinators over there that I did. My next recognition award goes to Raymond MEIC-Cedam. Mike recently served as president of the Vietnam Veterans of America, Detroit Chapter 9, in addition to volunteering at many other organizations. While serving as president, his leadership, quality, skills, and experience as a combat airman in Vietnam are invaluable to the organization. His technical skills are also a great asset. After Mike served in the war, he became a teacher and taught for more than 20 years in Macomb County. He is a Macomb County Bicentennial Committee member, DP of Veterans Memorial Park of Detroit, a life member of Metro Detroit Veterans Coalition, Public Affairs Officer, and life member of Fraser VFW Post 6691, a local church volunteer, and so much more. Mike, it's an honor. Could you please come up?
God bless America.
The one group that I think we have not thanked this evening is all of our veterans, so I would like to give them a round of applause. Next is Commissioner Sabatini from Macomb Township.
Thank you, Commissioner. I didn't know we had so many comedians on this board. Apparently we do. So I have one special volunteer this evening, Shirley Lydecker. Shirley, come on down. She asked me if she gets to come up here this evening. I said, just like The Price is Right. Come on down, Shirley. So Shirley heads up and facilitates making pillows and blankets for people in need, hospitals, shut-ins, and the Life Through Emmanuel Church, Lutheran Church. The care given through the church's prayer blanket ministry is an extension of love from Emmanuel and all involved. Care and comfort has been given to thousands because of the personal touch involved. Shirley inspires her team to be the hands and feet of Jesus as she leads them to making the pillows and blankets and delivering them. So let's all give her a round of applause.
I'm Commissioner Matusik. I represent the area in Clinton Township. Very happy to be here. This is my first one of these. What an inspirational event. You all are the folks that make our community work. You really are. So I have 3 people to honor this evening. Dennis Costa, why don't you come on up? I'm gonna make you stand here while I read this. In 2021, Dennis volunteered over 1,000 hours of his time at the Clinton Macomb Public Library. He organized an ongoing book sale, which I gotta say is fabulous. You can get amazing books for $2. I do it all the time.
50 cents in the dollar.
50 cents in a dollar. Well, I always buy more than one, so in my mind, that's. He organized an ongoing book sale, which included daily sorting through donations, leading other volunteers, and maintaining a large collection of books, games, and puzzles. All funds raised are used to enhance or provide library programs. Dennis has worked tirelessly since the COVID pandemic hit and subsequently closed the used book nook. He created a sustainable method to take in used books, sort through the donations, and make them available to the public to purchase. He kept me going during COVID. So I want to thank you, Dennis. Congratulations. Next is Nancy Smith. Is Nancy here? Oh, there you are. Come on up. Nancy Smith volunteers her time with the American Cancer Society, St. Michael's Church, and Emerald Point Condo Association. She's on the Relay for Life Planning Committee and is a lector, among other things, at St. Michael's. She raises money, promotes cancer research and awareness, and helps to make the church a vibrant part of the community. Nancy is easygoing, very personable, and has a hard time saying no, which I think is a common feature for everyone in this room. She always wears a great smile, and her love for her children and grandchildren overflow all around her. So congratulations, Nancy. And lastly, I'd like to recognize Kim Weston. Is Kim here? Oh, great, fabulous, come on out. Kim coordinates the marketing and execution of events for the JFK Knights of Columbus Council 5460, including car shows, dinners, and raffles. The proceeds of these events are used to assist the less fortunate, as well as to bring people together for fun and family activities. Kim is a passionate leader who inspires those around her to participate in charitable events they otherwise would not have. So congratulations. Now I have the privilege of handing out the last award of this evening, and it is to the Senior Volunteer of the Year. Now I look around this room and on this table and see lots of seniors, and what I know is that I retired personally and spent about 9 months, organizing my closets and getting all my stuff together, and then looked around and said, okay, what do I do now? Well, now we know what people do. We do all the things that you all do. So in 2020, the Macomb County Older Adult Advisory Committee recommended that the Board of Commissions develop a special category of award and to enhance to their annual volunteer program. The category award is to especially honor seniors who, in their retirement and golden years, are helping others make a positive impact. The board adopted this recommendation that came from the committee, and so today we are awarding the 2022 Senior Volunteer of the Year to Stanley Godowski. Stanley is actively involved
I need a slap in the face.
I won't be doing that honor, that's for
Oh, God.
But congratulations.
God bless everybody. Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. Oh. Well, that concludes all the recognitions. Only a partial list of the thousands that are out there, but this year we recognize all of you for your service. The people that you worked with, you served with, you toil with, many countless hours, and you don't think anyone noticed you, but they did. And they nominated you today to be here and give us an opportunity to give you a token of our recognition and thanks to all the good things that you do to help make our county better. And on behalf of the entire Board of Commissioners, we thank you. We want to give you applause. Now, all of our commissioners are pretty well connected, so if you need something, call your local commissioner. They'll help you. They'll help you whatever you're trying to do. We've got a lot of resources available to help all of you. So this event couldn't be possible without the help of our staff. We want to give our staff thank yous to help organize and put this together. There's one person who wanted to be recognized, our county prosecutor, P.L.C, who's here tonight. Commissioner, I'm going to call for a recess. We'll be able to mingle for a bit, then we've got to go upstairs and conduct the rest of our business tonight upstairs. So, can I have a motion to recess? Make the motion. Motion by Commissioner Ferrand, supported by Commissioner Kraft. All those in favor of recess, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We'll see you upstairs. Thank you.
All right, good evening. We'll call this meeting back to order. We'll call the recess done. Item number 8 is public participation. Anyone wish to be heard on any subject on the agenda has 3 minutes to speak. It's your opportunity to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any item on the agenda. At the end of the meeting, there'll be opportunity to speak on any subject you like. But right now, if you have 3 minutes to speak on any item on the agenda tonight. So just ask you to come up to the podium, say your name and address for the record, and proceed. So anyone wish to be heard under public participation? Please.
Hi, thank you. My name is Sarah Murray. I'm the Armada Township Treasurer. Back in October of 2021, the Board of Commissioners met for a public hearing regarding this annexation. There was quite a bit of testimony submitted regarding Armada Township's efforts and taxpayer money spent over many years in an effort to provide water and sewer to our small industrial corridor. The Board of Commissioners asked some very pertinent questions to better understand the situation, and upon taking a vote, the Commissioners voted 8-5 in favor of Armada Township retaining all of our small industrial corridor. In January of 22, the leaders of all of the surrounding communities met with Candace Miller and her board and engineers, and with the blessing of the Public Works Department, to see what could be done at the county level to help the smaller northern communities without reinventing the wheel. Part of the discussions also mentioned the possibility of using ARPA funds. Visits were made by Ms. Miller and her engineers to both the Washington Township and Romeo facilities in order to assess them and see what could be done to enhance or do whatever, they could do without building treatment plants all over the place. On April 7th, there was another commission meeting, and at that meeting, somehow the facts appeared to be twisted into something else, and the commissioners took another vote in favor of reconsidering the October vote. In the last 2 years, Romeo has annexed land from Ray Township that is owned by Mr. Zahowski. Romeo has a large portion, over 250 acres already, of industrial land that sits in Bruce Township, including the land that Ford Motor Company sits on, approximately 18 acres in Ray Township, and now wants the 72 acres in Armada Township. It's unfortunate that Ford may be closing that plant. However, that is a business decision that Ford Motor Company made. It could happen to any business in any town at any time. In fact, Ford has no plans to sell that land in that building, so the Village of Romeo isn't losing anything. The building still remains. Ford will continue to pay their taxes, just as they did when it used to be Ford Tractor Plant. And then they closed that, and now it's the engine plant, and it may be their electric vehicle plant, who knows? None of us have a crystal ball. The building can, and I'm sure will be, either repurposed for Ford or some other business. It's not going anywhere. The Macomb Daily article of April 18th also indicates that Christine Malzahn fully supports and is looking forward to the Village of Romeo becoming a city. So having more industrial land will fast-track her cityhood status. You have received letters from other township officials in neighboring Bruce Township and Washington Township that have outlined more information for you regarding sewer contracts between the communities.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay, what I'm having a hard time comprehending is how the Board of Commissioners went from a 10-3 vote in favor of us keeping our industrial corridor, and hearing all that's happened in between, and now a vote to reconsider of 10-3, it makes absolutely no sense. We also know that Armada Township has an ordinance for medical marijuana in our industrial corridor. We also know that medical marijuana is not the only plant variety used for pharmaceuticals. Just be forthcoming with your ideas, Chet. We are happy to work with everyone. Let's be honest with ourselves. Annexing Armada Township land is not a good business decision for anyone, whether it's because of sewer or anything else.
Thanks.
Thank you for your time.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, Bill Thompson, 73149 Lasser Road, Bruce Township, Michigan. I'm not a big fan of public speaking, so 13 of you, wow. So there's three concerns from my perspective as a Bruce Township resident. Last meeting on April 7th, Christine Malzahn identified the sewage treatment plant as being underutilized. So to me, that would make it seem like a really easy way to figure out the sewage capacity negotiations with Bruce Township. That should probably have been figured out prior to this meeting, especially since it's underutilized. One of the questions or concerns would be, how will the annexation of Armada Township property affect the property owners that have invested to develop their property on 33 Mile Road that is basically touches Romeo's and the tip of Armada's industrial corridor? What will the financial impact be on the Bruce Township residents because of the sewage treatment plant agreement that stipulates that Bruce Township will cover 24.29% of the maintenance, upgrades, and repairs of the facility? What will the impact of the newly annexed, fully developed property be? What will the sewer flow be? What will be the financial burden on Bruce Township? That'd be another question that should probably be answered before this is considered. Bruce Township has the first right of refusal for additional sewage capacity offered to a municipality outside of the village's boundaries or a new user outside of the boundaries. So in my opinion, I think this is a clever circumvention because now it's not outside the boundaries, it'll be part of the village and inside the boundaries. So, you know, I always like when you watch these meetings and you have the attorneys come up and talk about basically what you can do. But I never watch any of the municipal meetings where the attorneys talk about something, whether it's ethical or not. And realistically, your job as the commissioners is to be the ethics of the community and decide whether this is actually going to be in the best interest of all the communities that are involved. So the last thing I'd like to point out is, as far as I know, none of the commissioners live in Romeo, Bruce, or Armada. So you'll be making a decision for a community that you do not live in, and you will not be impacted by the decision. So just take those things into consideration, please, before you make your decision, and maybe at the very most, you make a motion to postpone this. So thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Board of Commissioners. My name is Mary Swyacki. I'm the Armada Township Clerk. I have a memorandum from our planner, McKenna, which I'd like to read regarding the annexation proposal. We received from a planning perspective the Armada Township zoning ordinance and master plan for land use as related to the proposed annexation of 5 parcels approximately 71.24 acres of land in the southwest portion of the township of the Village of Romeo. The adopted master plan and the current land use and zoning of the surrounding properties do not support the proposed annexation into the village. We offer the following considerations. 2015 adopted master plan background. The township's adopted master plan for the land use is a critical policy document and the result of the accumulation of public input to define the future direction of the community. The essential document identifies and highlights the importance of its existing industrial area and the southwest corner of the township. Industrial areas. The master plan, page 36, states the following regarding Armada Township's industrial base, which is of significant value to the community's tax base. The subject site is located within the Romeo Community Schools District, which is a primary benefit to those surrounding communities, not the township itself. The majority of the land within Armada Township falls under the jurisdiction of the Armada School District. The industrial plan area. Industrial uses have traditionally provided municipalities with a stable job base as well as additional tax base to support desired services. Armada Township is largely on the fringe of the types of transportation and sanitary infrastructure that industrial land uses typically seek. The southwestern corner of the township has long hosted a privately owned industrial subdivision. Though it occupies only a small portion of the township land, this area provides substantial tax revenue. Future annexation considerations. The master plan also provides information regarding future annexation of property into the Village of Romeo as noted. The township maintains the future expansion of services into Armada community would require a mutually negotiated intergovernmental agreement and not annexation. The township surrounds the Village of Armada and borders the Village of Romeo. In the past, both villages have discussed annexation of township lands in conjunction with the extension of services into the township. At present, the township takes the position that any expansion of service into the township from either the village would require a mutually negotiated intergovernmental agreement. It would not involve boundary adjustments or land transfers. Also, I'm here to speak to validate the projected loss of revenue over the next 10 years of the annexation Mr. Zahowski is requesting. In 2021, Armada general operating revenue received $958.50, fire operating $4,305.74, advanced life support $1,987.27, the library $1,401.27 for a total of $86.52.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
Thank you. I respectfully request and ask the Board of Commissioners to deny the request for annexation from Mr. Zahowski. Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Board. My name is Frank DeGiorgio. I'm a resident of Bruce Township as well as the treasurer of the township. I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. This is a complex issue, and then the end results should serve each community, not just one or one individual. If you are not aware of the impact of what you're going to decide, your vote should be against annexation of the property. It has been stated in a letter that Mr. Brown sent to me that they are currently studying the future needs of our corner of the county and how best to accommodate it, and the best results of this study are to this date not completed or even unknown. So how in the world can a decision be made if this study is not completed or unknown? Annexation will not create new jobs. There are vacant industrial parcels in Bruce Township just a half a mile northwest of the subject property and a quarter mile east of M53, which allows easy accessibility. And they are all ready for buildings to be built on and hooked up to sewer and water. In the last 11 years, Armada has invested $500,000 into securing a 16-inch water main. Bruce Township has invested $5 million into the wastewater treatment plant. These investments at both townships are still trying to get out of debt with. The focus should be to figure out what to do and how to promote the property that Ford Motor Company sits on. Because if you don't, it's just going to be a vacant piece of land just sitting there. Also, it has been stated that the decision to annex the subject property is largely based on the fact that, and I quote, this property has attempted to obtain service for over 15 years, and despite the efforts of many local governments, it has been unsuccessful. But the truth of the matter is, no one has stopped the property owner from developing it. He could have easily developed it by putting septic fields in there. Another infrastructure statement has been made is that Bruce Township and the Village of Romeo began talks a year ago and have not been able to reach an agreement for more sewer capacity. Bruce Township did approach the Village of Romeo a year ago, disputing their claim that we were at capacity, and they were proven wrong by the attorneys. We have requested more capacity for future projects, which they have agreed to 3 months ago, and we are still waiting for the contractual language on that. It seems to me that before approving this issue, I strongly suggest that you put this on hold and wait until the study is completed. It would be very discouraging and incompetent if you put the cart before the horse without all the facts presented to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dan Dequindre, Washington Township trustee. I didn't prepare a speech because this was going to come right from the heart. Washington Township tries to be a good neighbor to everybody. When Washington Township built their sewer plant, it was on the DEQ permit that we would allow Armada a certain amount of capacity. We are now taking that pipe up to 32 Mile Road. I think if you turn around and you let this land annexation go forward without allowing all the wheels that have been in motion for years to continue to where Armada just has to bring a pipe down and connect to ours, and we can figure out the money part of it, whether Armada borrows it from Washington Township and pays it back over 20 years, as their users come online and that. There are ways we can work around this. But to just take land because you've mismanaged your own community, you've mismanaged the village, and now you're trying to turn around and say, well, this is how we're going to solve our problem, is on the backs of another community. So I'm going to liken this to Russia, where they just went into and invaded a country. There's no people getting killed here, but there are lives being destroyed. There is land that is being taken, and their heritage is going away. Is that right? Is that fair? You guys have a difficult job. I sit on 4 different boards. I commend you all. Please delay this. I don't think this is the right way to do, to proceed as far as the annexation. Washington, like I said, we had this when we built the sewer plant. So if you could just take that in consideration, I think things can work out, but we just need to work together. Recently, Commissioner Brown, Candace Miller, and a few others were up in the north end, and they were looking at ways in this right here to resolve this issue. Yes, I read the letter that's been going on for 15 years, but we're coming to a head. We're this close. Don't pull the horse out of the race yet. Let the horse get across the finish line. And that's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair and members of the board. Kevin Cannell, 23732 East Main Street, Armada, Michigan. Also, Armada Township Fire Marshal. Also going to speak on behalf of Michigan Professional Firefighters Local 5053. We strongly oppose this annexation proposal, as it will devastate the Armada Township Fire Department as far as our funding and our future, and it will set a very dangerous precedence for all communities in Macomb County. First, I'll speak as an administrator of a fire department. We, and when I say we, I mean all municipal-based fire departments, rely heavily on commercial business and property to fund our current and future services. Okay, this would devastate the Armada Township Fire Department. I learned about this last minute. I wish I had more time to put actual numbers together of how this would affect us. But first, we're obviously going to lose the property and the income that is leaving us initially, the future growth of when there's building that occurs, and then what's stopping other businesses from annexing. Okay, this could devastate our budget. We provide fire rescue, advanced life support services to a growing community. Like all communities, we're understaffed. It's very difficult. When you talk about Blake's, you talk about the Armada Fairgrounds. We're talking about more tourists visiting Armada than probably any stadium in Detroit right now. It's very difficult to keep up with this. Additionally, we have 30 plus minute transport times to our hospitals. Again, we rely on this funding and this future for our fire department. We just approved a proposal to move forward with Macomb County Comtech, okay, to provide full dispatching services. Now, how are we going to continue to provide this service and fund these services and plan for future growth, which includes additional staffing, a second fire station, which, by the way, we already own property near this business district? How are we going to do that? I know the answer. I know all of you know that that's passed on to the taxpayers, or a difficult decision is to reduce services, which we cannot do right now. This also sets a very dangerous precedent for all of Macomb County. Everybody here knows how hard it is to fund fire and police services. So let's take a lesson from history. You know, businesses and how they leave a community could really create funding issues with any community, especially when you start moving south. This has already happened in Southeast Michigan, and it has affected and hindered local services or ability for communities to provide local services and even public education. And we know it really affects areas that have higher numbers of low-income families. As an Armada resident, I intend to continue to support our township officials in finding a solution to bring sewers to this business district. However, the board has tried multiple times and had multiple committees, and there's one committee that is not being reasonable, and that's my opinion on that. But
You
they
have
are
30
here,
seconds.
They're asking this board to basically approve the theft of our property and our tax base for one individual that stands to make a large profit. There was never any, he bought this property as is. There was no written agreements that were made for certain amenities to be included at some time. There were no amenities that were taken away. So I asked this board to do the right thing. And you are here to do what's best for the greater good of the community, not one individual. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Excuse me, distinguished commissioners, my name is Richard Hagelstein. I am a Bruce Township resident and a Bruce Planning Commissioner. Per the recent Oversight Committee, the annexation request received an in favor vote. There's more to consider. Romeo shared they are just trying to be a good neighbor. If I were to drive off with your vehicle without providing compensation, would I be a good neighbor as well? Following the legal definition, theft of property is defined as the taking of property belonging to another with the intention of depriving the owner permanently of its possession. Annexation is not a solution, but rather forcibly obtains revenue from adjacent municipalities to pay their debts. It only transfers debt from one municipality to another and ultimately corrects nothing. Based on the inability of Armada and Bruce Townships to agree on sewage treatment terms with the Village of Romeo, the need remains for county oversight to ensure creation of an equitable and binding intergovernmental agreement. The Macomb County Department of Public Works is already aware, although has not provided any recommendations yet. Problem when you read here, okay. Aren't boards expected to postpone decisions when additional information material to a cause is forthcoming? Annexation approval will result in the Village of Romeo remaining in singular control to dictate the future terms of sewer treatment to adjacent municipalities. Furthermore, with an intergovernmental sewage agreement, surrounding municipalities will be at increased risk of future annexation. Per observation of Village of Romeo board activity, it is likely they will pursue becoming a city. Please note they are already in process of undertaking a boundary commission study. When they do become a city, any shared revenues with adjacent townships end, and the Village of Romeo will receive 100% of all mills. Regarding Bruce Township, our balance sheet is weak. As Bruce Township runs the risk of future annexation and lost revenue, what can be expected? Loss of services, a levy of the only remaining 0.5 administrative mills, a ballot proposal to increase operating mills. The equitable solution is for county oversight of a binding intergovernmental agreement that will not allow one municipality owning a utility to dictate terms or annexing property when terms cannot be agreed to. The approach of annexing properties from neighboring municipalities must stop, as it is not in the best interest of Macomb County to further allow one municipality to pit itself against another. Ultimately, the majority vote tonight will determine whether future relationships remain adversarial or guided to become collaborative. Thank you for this opportunity, and I respectfully ask each of you to vote no. Thank you.
else? Anyone else under public participation? Anyone else wish to be heard? Please come up, state your name. You got 3 minutes.
Andrew Fifely, President, IAFF Local 5053, Armada Township Professional Firefighters Union. I'm here to be really honest with you because I want to go bat for our firefighters, the guys and ladies that need these jobs. We are short-staffed, as the marshal said earlier, and just starting this domino effect, and I believe that's what we'll do. We'll start a domino effect. Once you start this process, I don't think it ever ends. We do work off of an ALS millage in a SAD district. We do not have any money that comes in from general fund to support our fire department. So we do that through an ALS millage and a SAD, as I said. We're an advanced life support community since 2009. We house 10 full-time firefighters, one being the chief. And we have a paid-on-call system also. We work really well with our partners, Washington and Bruce Township in the fire service. I don't know why they can't do that in government. But as far as the fire department, we do damn good. And why? Because we're here for the people and we make them decisions for the best for our communities. But I'll say Romeo's the one we're talking about, and they don't own a fire department. They don't have an advanced life support agency that they own. Everything they do is done by contract. So you're going to take money from the people across the street that deserve to have a service because they pay for it, and then you're going to take money out of our pockets, which is out of our budget, which means, is that going to shut us down staffing? Down the road, that could be a very big hit to us. And we're a growing community, and as the marshal said, we have Blake's, we have the fair, we deal with hundreds of thousands of people out there every year, and we need every dime that we can get to run our ALS and fire department. It's the board's duty to do what's best for the greater good of the residents. We kind of get caught up in some of this emotional stuff, and that's not what we're here for. We're here to tell you guys that doing this would create a domino effect, in my opinion, in our opinion, and that the firefighters do not support that from Armada Township. We're doing the right thing. We're going to Comtech. You know, you guys are going to see that on your agenda probably here in the next week or two or a couple of meetings. We're taking our dispatch system and turning it over to Comtech and to pay for that. How do we pay for that when you're taking money out of our pocket? You know, Romeo's got a dispatch system, Bruce Township don't. You want to save some money, Romeo? Get rid of your dispatch and your PSAP system and go to Comtech. Save you all kinds of money. That's what they need to do. And they need to, if they're going to want a fire...
30 seconds.
If they want a fire department, they might need their own. And then they would pay the real price that the Bruce Township residents are paying, just like our Armada residents are paying, because the village pays pennies on the dollar. Romeo's not trying to improve their service in any manner. They're just trying to steal from Armada. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Chris Anderson from Seabrook Dulaski, Counsel for Armada Township. This request has been referred to by the village as a small change in boundaries. I would submit to you that annexing 63 acres of vacant developable industrial property and 9 acres that are already developed leaves Armada with only 33 acres of vacant developable industrial property. This small change in boundary transfers almost 70% of the available industrial land that can be developed for Armada's district. It essentially guts the remaining industrial development that Armada was counting on from its industrial district. It was said at the first hearing that parcels on the west side of Powell Road are developed due to the fact that they have municipal water and sewer, and the parcels on the east side are undeveloped. However, that is not so. On the east side of Powell Road, there's Henshaw, Romeo Village DPW, KLM Landscape, Hillco, SKF, Joyson, and the Pond Guy. Henshaw has an absolutely beautiful building. They have water because they tapped into the municipal water line that Armada put in and is located at 33 and Powell. Okay? The previous proposed special assessment district and intergovernmental agreement for sewer and water for the entire industrial district fell apart, not because of Armada Township, but because the property owners said it's too expensive. We do not want it. The property owners in the industrial district said they do not want it. Okay? The township efforts to date have been focused on providing municipal services for the entire water and sewer district, of which the industrial district is a part. The township has not been approached to provide municipal services just for Mr. Zahowski's property. Quite frankly, that's a very, very simple fix. An intergovernmental agreement could take care of that within a matter of a month. But that has not been brought to the township. In fact, water is already at 33 in Powell. And if the township is allowed to continue doing what they're doing, that water line will be in front of every parcel in the industrial district
You have
within
30
the year.
seconds.
Every need and goal expressed by the property owner, by the village, and by Armada Township can be met through an intergovernmental agreement. The drastic action of annexation is simply not necessary. This commission acts in the best interest of the county as a whole, not just Armada, Romeo, Washington, Sterling Heights, or Chesterfield. And I would submit to you that it's in the county's best interest to tell Armada, Romeo, and the property owner to cooperate and get it done. Put aside politics and foolish pride.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Distinguished committee, Jason Grimby, Armada Township resident and current Board of Trustee for Armada Township. And I come to you with three opinions, one as a trustee, one as a resident, and one as one body community within District 33. As a trustee, I had the honor to spend some time with my supervisor, John Paterak. He invited me to a meeting, and our chairman, Don Brown, was serving that committee. He invited Candace Miller on a phone call. Mr. Brown, during that time, that was when the decision was made that Candace Miller stood up and said, let the Macomb County take over. We need information from the engineers. Let us do this study. In that spirit, you were happy. You were happy that people were talking, that we were collaborating, and we were trying to find a way out of this program. We decided to table it until the study was done, and lo and behold, here we are tonight to talk about this issue. And I was just wondering what happened between then and now. As a township resident, I can see this annexation is not favorable for us, definitely. Our township listened to the people of our industrial district. Our township acted. Our township invested in our services. The water is there. Our supervisor has done a very good job of articulating what has done and what needs to be done. And just as a member of District 33, I understand the position you guys are all in. I've followed some of you. Mr. Romano, I've followed you just about my life. I was born and raised in Sterling Heights. And the great Mayor Noddy was definitely a true leader. And I was just wondering what Mayor Noddy would do in this situation. Annexation only works when there's no solutions. And if this is the option that we're dealing with, what were the other options? So I'm not hearing any other solutions or options. Water is a great asset. And I understand Romeo's position. And I know losing Ford is going to hurt their water source and their supply. That's 40% of their water revenue came from Ford. The property's not leaving. The building's still there. That's still an asset. That water is still an asset. So
You have 30 seconds.
When companies, when townships, when cities have assets, that's where leadership comes in and how to leverage these assets. Annexing another property just to offset some of my loss, it's not the appropriate reason to do annexation. And I would just encourage you guys to rethink this situation. In the spirit of Mayor Noddy, I don't think he would do this. Do it. Annexation is done in a healthy way to grow and survive, not to steal and hurt other communities, such as everybody else who's been talking.
Thank you.
Now. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to be heard?
Good evening. Jim Getzinger, 78550 Coon Creek Road. I'm an Armada Township trustee. As you can tell from other previous discussions, comments, this is clearly about sewer. We have a property owner that stands to make money benefiting his property if he has access to sewer, and the village stands to make money by annexing some property. Armada, this has tried, we have engineered a sewer that runs the entire length of Powell Road. We've created a special assessment district. This has not failed for lack of trying. The issue, in my opinion, is that the village of Romeo holds all the cards. They were not interested in providing a fair deal, an honest deal to Armada Township, so because there's no competition, we were unable to make something succeed. Annexing this property really should be the last effort. It shouldn't be something because we're not giving enough or able to afford enough that they can just take this property from us, and losing that property, as also stated previously, would significantly handicap our ability in the future. It's going to be one step at a time, and every piece of property that we lose will make it that much harder for us to get sewer in the township in the future because we're losing another user. And I would just encourage you all to deny this, and that would encourage Romeo to really come to the table in earnest to get a deal that would work for this property owner and the communities around it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else come up just step forward.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Clark Andrews. I was here at the last hearing at which the Government Oversight Committee voted 10-3 to reconsider this matter. I have to tell you that it is time to move on with respect to this issue. Mr. Zahowski has been seeking public water and sewer service to serve the remaining industrial properties that he has north of 32 Mile Road east of Powell. He's been working at this for more than 15 years, and Armada Township has not been able to produce a solution during that more than 15-year period of time. The Armada Township people that are asking that they not lose their fire and ALS millage, Mr. Zahowski has offered and has agreed to put into writing that he would pay the lost revenues with respect to that based on what the current amounts were for a 5-year period of time initially in a lump sum, and in addition to that, to the extent that there will not be sufficient revenues as a result of growth in the tax base there, he will do that for an additional 5-year period of time. He's willing to essentially protect Armada Township against those lost revenues for a 10-year period of time. We believe that there is going to be substantial industrial growth there as a result of this proposed annexation, and that will be beneficial to all of the people in northern Macomb County. And we think it is time for this board to move on and approve this annexation. This has been going on for too long, and we're ready to move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would like to come up as next?
Hello, my name is Bill Scully. I live at 62340 Sawgrass in Washington Township. A bit of history, I'm Chester's controller. I hired in with Chester in about 1999. At the outset of my employment there, I was told that we're going to get water and sewer in Armada Township and develop the property. Well, it's 2022, and we've tried. We've worked with Armada, we've worked with everybody, and it just hasn't happened. I think the numbers regarding the income from taxes are very, very obvious. The benefit to the county to be able to develop that land is enormous in terms of the tax base they'll create, not to mention the jobs they'll create and the auxiliary effects of those jobs. We've spent literally hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s trying to get this done. We've hired consultants. We've got a discharge permit for the East Pond Creek in anticipation of trying to do our own plant. We fought lawsuits. We've done everything possible we can do. And despite numerous promises, it's always, it's coming soon. Let's wait for this. Let's wait for that. The bottom line is it just hasn't happened. And I keep hearing about Armada. They want to get their own development. They're not going to get it unless they get water and sewer, and they haven't been able to produce that. And I agree that it's time to move on from that and let the area develop so that the county can realize the tax base. Everybody talks about the greater good. That would be for the greater good. So I urge you to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else come up to the podium and speak? First one to race to the podium and get it first.
Well, I'm too old to race, but good evening, Commissioners. My name is Mark Clark. I'm the attorney for the Village of Romeo. I've also had the good fortune to live and work in the village for nearly 44 years. I just want to mention a couple of things. I'm not going to bore you with the gory details. You've had information before you. You've considered this over a number of hearings, and I very much appreciate your consideration. I just want to mention a couple of things that I think are important so they don't get lost in the shuffle. One is the village did not go out and seek the annexation. The village has what most municipalities want, wonderful public services. We have sewer, we have water, we have garbage collection, we have a police department, we have a Department of Public Works. We contract with Bruce Township for our fire and ALS. We have what other communities want. And when other communities, such as Armada or Washington or Bruce, they come to the village and they say, we want what you have, we say, okay, come into the village. The village does not go out and seek property. This isn't a grab of property. And keep in mind, if you approve the annexation, which I hope you do, the village isn't going to own any property. This is still Mr. Zahowski's property. The township, Armada Township, says, well, this is really easy. Romeo's just being unreasonable. Armada Township came to the village and said, let's have an intergovernmental agreement for sewer, much like you have with Bruce Township. The Bruce Township agreement is nearly 25 years old. Let's have something in Armada between the village like that. Okay, Armada submits an agreement as to the capacity they wanted and the amount they wanted to pay. The village said, fine, we'll agree to that. They could not meet, Armada could not meet the time frame. So they come back and they say, hey, we can't put this together. Let's amend this. Okay, it's amended. They come back, they can't meet the time frame. Let's amend this and extend the time. Okay, and oh, by the way, we think when we get everything in place, we want some more capacity. Okay, you can have that too. There was an original agreement and 3 amendments, and they could not, Armada Township could not fulfill any of them. And I don't say that disparagingly. I just want to disabuse everybody of this notion that the village is a predator as far as adjoining properties go and that we're unreasonable.
You have 30 seconds.
We protect what we have, and I think that this is appropriate. If you drive up Powell Road, you look to the left, you'll see development in Bruce Township and the village. You look to the right, you see sparse development. If you want it to stay that way for the next 30 years, vote no, because it's not going to change if you don't. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else wish to speak? You come up, you got. Okay.
Good evening, Commissioners, and thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. I'm the Deputy Supervisor for Armada Township. I have a lot of knowledge about the sewer and water dilemma that's been going on. I would like to address what was just mentioned about Armada coming back to the table asking for more capacity when we already had agreed on an amount. That was for Chet Zahowski's property. He asked for that more capacity, so I just wanted to clear that up. A point I want to make. Back in your 2019 meeting, Romeo requested Ree Township property that was also owned by Mr. Zahowski. At that meeting, from Romeo, Chet Zahowski stated that he cannot get utilities from anywhere but Romeo. He then followed up by saying Romeo will not and doesn't want to do an intergovernmental agreement, and he is being held hostage by them with his property. This is on your video on your webpage. Additionally, this property to be annexed was explained by both Chetsikowski's attorney and himself of the intention to build an assisted living facility as there are not any around. There was a lot of commission talk about this since it was the reason for the annexation. It was further mentioned this parcel would be able to use the close police department, Bruce's ALS. This was 3 years ago. To this date, there is no water or sewer at that location. That was taken from Ray and brought over to Romeo. There is no assisted living facility. However, at the last Romeo Planning Commission meeting, a special land use application for a commercial marijuana license was approved for that exact same address, and a parcel to construct an 18,000 square foot building way behind the house for a commercial marijuana and retail grow operation. Note this address that annexed is the same property, and it's 3.9 acres. This is not anything I have knowledge of, but I'm sure if they're going to put up an 18,000 square foot building, they're probably going to have to go into the Phase 2 portion of Armada Township property that Mr. Zakowski currently owns. This was disconcerting. I watched the Village of Romeo meeting on 9/20/21. When the Bruce Township request for additional flows was addressed, it was asked by a trustee twice if Romeo was going to use its leverage with sewer to its benefit in their negotiations. A mention of this benefit was to keep their fire and ALS mills down for their residents that they count on Bruce to provide. I frankly found that appalling, and everybody on their board looked shocked that that was said out loud. I just want to cover real quick. I keep hearing how this has been going on for 15 to 20 years. Chetsikowski holds a permit to build his own sewer treatment plant, Armada Township has not kept check from having water and sewer hookup. The Village of Romeo has. Mr. Zakowski obtained his own permit to build wastewater in 2001. He was building on 130 acres of his own land. He was going to have it done by the end of that year. He was going to service the industrial corridor. This was challenged by somebody, don't know who, Macomb County Prosecuting's office, but it was again approved in 2003. 2006, Chetsikowski presented the Armada Township Board with the proposal that he was going to go ahead with his plans to build the plant, but that the township had to buy it from him for $2.3 million. The board voted that down.
Your 3 minutes is done.
I didn't get a warning.
I'm sorry. You're so good, you're on a roll. I didn't want to interrupt.
I know. Okay. Thank you very much for letting me speak, and I hope that you take Armada into consideration. We do want this to work for everybody.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, Commissioners. I appreciate you taking time out of your evenings to meet to hear this very passionate issue. Clearly, there are a lot of emotions that you hear tonight. Just a bit of information if anybody else was interested. Aiden Hutchinson is now a Detroit Lion. They drafted him at the number 2 pick. But I just wanted to offer that as a bit of levity to break it up. And also just to give you a quick update, because at the last hearing, there was some discussion about Romeo's ability to offer Bruce their additional sewer capacity. And I would just update you that I met with Treasurer Frank DeGiorgio and one of their Board of Trustees members, Mike Tremblay, on Wednesday. We had some great discussions. I received today from our legal counsel a draft of that contract agreement, and I plan to initiate that. So even though it sort of seems like Romeo's been villainized in this process, by Armada and by Bruce Township, and everything that I've seen circling in social media and letters that have been issued, that's not the case. Again, Romeo is willing. We invited the county to come in and take a look at our 2.2 million gallon facility. We're very proud of it. We know that there's some costs involved in maintaining that. We have always been willing to accept anybody to come in and partner with us because we understand, Romeo understands how it benefits the entire area. I don't think anybody could look at our industrial park right now, which by the way sits fully in Bruce Township, not just part of it, fully in Bruce Township. Had that annexation not occurred, quite some years ago under Dr. Markey's agreement with Bruce Township, where would Romeo be? If that annexation hadn't allowed for that growth in northern Macomb County, where would Bruce Township's tax base be? Where would Romeo's tax base be? This is forward thinking. We have to think bigger. We have to think what benefits all of northern Macomb County. And we know that that's industrial development. We know that Romeo has the capacity and that we're willing to share it. Unfortunately, it's come to this point. We've exhausted all opportunities with Armada to get there. Hopefully, through annexation, which again, I hope you'll approve this request tonight, we can still get growth in Armada Township that will benefit their tax base in the long run. So, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard?
Good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Mike Philbrook. I live at 7320 37 Mile Road, Bruce Township. I'm also the Bruce Township Supervisor. I'm not going to be repetitious from what you've already heard tonight. I'm not even going to read my statement. But primarily, I sit in the same seat you guys do, and I have to make decisions on what's best for everybody in our community. The biggest issue I have with this, I hear all the pros, I hear all the cons. Everybody says this is going to work, this is going to be what's best, but I don't see any factual information or documentation. A lot of times we have to, get an impact study and find out what's going to be done. Have a professional firm or a neutral firm figure it out for us. Lay that documentation on the table and bring that forth so we can base our decision on something that is based on documentation and factual information. It's a lot of hearsay I got going on. I want what's best in the community. If the annexation is what's best for everybody in our community, so be it. If it's not, I'd like to see the documentation. So as all I'm asking you tonight, if you could just maybe reconsider this, table it. Let's get a professional engineering firm out there. Let's get a impact study, and let's see what they come up with. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Supervisor. Anyone else wish to be heard? Anyone else wish to be heard under public participation? One more time.
I'll make this quick. I'm Chester Zahowski, 600 Manatech, Lakeville, Michigan. What Mark Clark was referring to, this is, I don't know which side is who. This is Romeo, which is all in Bruce. These are all the buildings, 69 buildings. On the left is Armada, 9 buildings. The difference between water and sewer and not water and sewer. My property's at assessed, or not the assessed value, the taxable value is capped at $4,600, $4,600 an acre. It's a ridiculous number. Across the street, the same properties, $150,000 an acre. I mean, we're losing, you people are losing tax money, like the village of Armada, or not the village, but the township of Armada is losing money. It's capped. We've been held hostage forever and ever and ever, and enough's enough, and I'm asking your vote to do something. Let's create jobs, get the northern part of the county going. I know you're doing, I saw something about the PR firm. We don't need a PR firm. We just need to get water and sewer and get going. And I'd asking for you, my daughter said where I was going tonight, she was going to kindergarten when I started this process. She's 41 now. So, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard on the public participation? Anyone else?
Chairman Brown?
Good
Commissioners?
afternoon.
John Patrick, Township Supervisor, Armada, 740911 Church Street. It's been stated heavily that there's something inherently wrong about Romeo's attempt to pay the bills. That's not the case, at least in my opinion. It's been stated tonight also that once we had the engineering put in place and the sewer contract was given to us and everybody said it was too expensive, it was the price of the service to put in the ground that was going to be cumbersome, not to mention the cost of the sewer was 2.5 times what you wouldn't have normally cost. But we're in a different situation now to why we were so interested when we had the opportunity to put the annexation down and work with the county was to find the funds to put those in there. So we know that Romeo Village is willing to write an intergovernmental agreement to provide us service. They've said they want to help. And Mr. Zakowski has said he's willing to pay for the infrastructure. So why can't Romeo Village write an intergovernmental agreement for sewer on his vacant land and not annex it from Armada Township? The pipe's paid for. The sewer's going to go for whatever the sewer's going to go for. And we don't, right now we're counting on county, grants, businesses. It was just too expensive. But now we have somebody who wants to put in the infrastructure. That's off the table. All we need is sewer now. We have water. And I'll bet you my board in a minute would be willing to run the pipe down there because we're obligated to Bruce Township with an intergovernmental agreement to sell a share of water. And if this goes and annexes out and they bring Romeo water in there, we're never going to make our capacity. We're never going to sell the volume of water that we're supposed to be selling in our intergovernmental agreement with Gray Lakes Water. So, and we have 30 acres left to develop, the LaFata property. So write us an intergovernmental agreement for sewer on Chet's property. Do it next week. He's going to put in a pipe, we're done. I mean, really. That was the problem. It was the expense of the project. Even Chet said, get out of the sewer business. For that kind of money, don't do it. So now we have a way. Chet wants to develop his property. Chet wants to invest in his property. Chet wants to pay for the sewer. We're all in support of that. That's what it's always been about.
You have 30 seconds.
Just, I feel like a soldier in a tent trying to talk to the doctor and they're not cutting my left arm off. I want my left arm. But that's what was stated. The infrastructure can be put in the ground. Romeo Village is willing to write a contract for sewer services, and Chet can develop his property just like he wants. It's done. I was hoping the county would come back with Public Works and offer the money to put the pipes in for the whole street. We don't know what that's going to be until it comes in. But at least that'll get us to the point to where the county can say, this is what we can do with the plant, and this is what we can do for the whole north end of Macomb County.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome, young man.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time, but I really think that's the best solution for everybody.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Anyone else under public participation for anything on this agenda? One more time. Anyone else want to be heard? Seeing none, we'll close public participation. Item 9 is appointments. Item 9A, Director of Human Resources Labor Relations. We have an executive appointment with the board concurrence. Please proceed.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Brown.
Chair, would you like a motion on the appointment?
Yeah, we'll take a motion.
I'll make the motion to appoint Carolyn Semlo as our new Director of Human Resources and Labor Relations.
Motion's been made and supported. Okay, proceed.
Thank you, Chairman Brown. Thank you, Commissioner Ha, for the motion, and thank you, Commissioner Farrington, for the second. I tried to be brief. I've been asked to be brief up here. Tonight, I might not be quite as brief because of the extraordinary individual who stands to my left. Also, the person who stands behind her is with her tonight. Phil Semlo, Carolyn's husband, is behind us. Besides his beautiful head of hair, he is a wonderful guy. And we have several members of our Human Resources and Labor Relations Department here tonight. You all received a document from me giving you Carolyn's qualifications. So you have, I'm sure, reviewed that. But I think the most impressive thing on that resume, on that letter, is her hire date of May 22nd, 2000. When I was applying for my position, I was fortunate enough to meet Carolyn through the interview process. Carolyn was on my interview panel when I was interviewing and was ultimately awarded my position. At that time, Carolyn was not a candidate, chose not to be a candidate. This county may be in a better place today had Carolyn applied for that position at that time. She would have been given that position at that time. She is a consummate professional, and the only person who's better for her not having that position at that time is me. So I am very, very happy about that. It also gave me an opportunity to meet Carolyn, to work alongside of Carolyn, and I am better for having had her as a colleague. Some of the things that are not in the letter that I want to talk about this evening, in human resources and labor relations, it's always a team effort, and we talk about that quite frequently. But Carlin really is the heart of that team. I'm saying Carlin a lot. I'll try to say she or something else, but Carlin is the heart of that team. She's the heart of the Dignity campaign. She's the heart of our training program, and she really is the engine that moves human resources and labor relations forward. One of the things that I think about often, and I was really impressed tonight with the debate and the candor that everybody had in public participation. No screaming, no yelling, no name calling. You don't see that a lot in politics today, unfortunately. It's easy to otherize people when they're not you, when you haven't had the experiences that they've had, when you haven't worked alongside of them. Having Carlin here since 2000, she's worked alongside every single person almost that we have here at this county. She really is one of us. She cares deeply about each and every one of our employees. She tries every day to make their lives better. Nobody is perfect, but really, if I was looking for a candidate for this position, Carlin's as close as you get. I could ask each and every one of you for an adjective to describe an employee that you would want to have. A couple of them that I've put down here: empathetic, timely, hardworking, steady, analytical, candid, honest, smart. She'll tell you funny. She tells everybody that she's funny. I really cannot say enough kind or glowing things about the woman who sits to my left or stands to my left. This county will be in a better place next year, the year after that, if you are willing this evening to approve her nomination. With that, I would respectfully ask for your consideration, and of course, Carlin's here to answer any questions if you have them. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Andy stole my speech, so I got nothing to say. I'm just going to burn some time because you guys waited so long and so patiently. But honestly, when I heard Andy was moving on, moving up, moving over, the first person that came to my mind was Carlin. But what we don't see is behind the scenes of Andy is the 1-2 punch of Carlin and Brian sitting over there. Those two folks are fantastic when it comes to HR. Carlin specifically for me, when I came on board, she was there. I don't know how I randomly found her, but I would ask her questions, and she was there for me and led me in the right direction. And there's no better person for this post. Like Andy said, maybe we would have been better off without. I'm just kidding. But Carlin, congratulations from the bottom of my heart. I'm so happy you're in this post. Phil, great name, great hair, and your family, thank you for coming and sitting through all this to honor Carlin. She definitely deserves this post. So thank you, Andy. Thank you, Carlin. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Kraft. Commissioner Ha.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to welcome Carlin into this position. You have extremely big shoes to fill.
Yes, I do.
I have worked for numerous HR directors throughout my career. He's probably, if not the best, one of the best I have ever dealt with. He sticks to an issue. His innovative, creative, technologically advanced programs that he's put in place have benefited this county beyond people's imagination. So I want to welcome you. And by the way, the reason that Andrew is sitting here this long is he specifically requested postponement to this meeting so he could come here and do this. I don't know that he anticipated the length that he was going to be sitting here, but I do want him to remember that. So thank you for all you've done, Andrew. Good luck in your new position and good luck in yours.
Thank you
That's
very
all
much.
I have, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Ha. Commissioner Romano.
Thank you, Chair. Welcome, Carolyn. I think
you.
it's an honor for us to have you as our HR director. I really mean that. The only thing that you did not cover, Andrew, you do walk on water, right? I mean, you're brave, trustworthy, loyal.
I've tried, not
You've
yet.
tried. Well, you know what? I really do. I think the county's in as good a shape. I will not say it's better than when Andrew was here, but as good a shape when Andrew was our HR director. So welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. That's all I have, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Romano. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Well, I wish I had talked to you when I came in. I'm still walking around lost. I never did learn how to look at my pay stubs. I haven't figured out, I haven't filled out all those online courses. I go on there, I don't know what I'm doing. Passwords are giving me a hard time in Macomb County, and there's different passwords for different things. So clearly, I should have sat down with you a long time ago, and maybe I'd have been a better person for it. Congratulations. And I didn't sit down to talk to you either. I just kind of making my way through life in a very difficult way, basically.
I will give Carla one piece of advice. When there's a negative review, it's finance's fault. So the paycheck thing, it's finance's fault. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak on the first round? Carl, I want to say thank you. I've known you a long time. You've come into the county, and you've helped so many employees around you, and now you're going to be at the top position to continue to even do more work and put your moniker on the organization. And it's a credit to our organization that we've built in this county. We've got good employees in our organization that are able to move their way up and continue to expand their careers and build a professional career right here in the county. And we're all the benefit for it, as are the taxpayers who pay for it. So really thank you. I look forward to working with you. I know there's going to be no issues, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We've all talked at you. Is there anything you want to say?
Thank you. Thank you for the time. And I've grown up here. I grew up in Macomb County. I grew up here working in Macomb County. As Andy said, I'm about to be a 23-year employee. So, and I've never been more proud to work at Macomb County as I am right now after just what we've gone through with COVID and just how we've come through that stronger as a county. And I'm really excited to step into this role. So it's the right time. So thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely real challenges with COVID. I mean, that's had one of the toughest experiences as a HR person to deal with all the COVID and all the myriad of issues that come before you. So, look, if you've got through that, anything's going to be a piece of cake.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that. We've got a motion on the floor. It's been made and supported. I need a motion to approve. Or please vote. Carry over from downstairs.
Motion passes 13-0.
Very good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is item 10, resolutions. Item 10A, resolution and order determination approving the Village of Romeo's petition for annexation of the property from Armada Township. We could have our counsel come to the podium. Good evening, Frank. Could you just set the stage for us again and why we're here, make sure that every commissioner's got a similar base?
I'm Frank Krisha, Assistant Corporation Counsel. I've been working on this project for, well, not quite a year, but this was a petition. First of all, this is annexation, and there's been some misconceptions, but annexation is the normal process at which certain municipalities grow. Many of the cities we have today, many of the townships or the villages we have today grew by annexation. By nature, the general governmental units at township, then within the township a village can form. The village then becomes part of it still pays the township tax, but they pay extra taxes for extra services. So the creation of a village automatically takes away township, or it doesn't take away it. Is what the people decide. The people decide we want to have these services. We create a village. The people create the village. And then the village can expand through annexation. So what happens here is there's a statute, MCL 74.6, and this is perfectly lawful. It's an agreed upon way. And this is the way that communities have grown throughout the history of Michigan. And throughout it's actually happening in the other states. But this is how communities grow and they develop through annexation. So there's a statute, MCL 74.6. That's the statute we're using in this case. under that statute, the property owners in the area that is petitioned to be annexed all signed the petition to join to be annexed by the village. They own the property. We don't own it, the village doesn't own it, township doesn't own it, the owners own it. We don't tell them what to do. They came to us and said, or they came to the village and said, we want annexation. We want to be part of the village because we want to share. They're going to pay more in taxes, but they want the benefits of the services. So the property owners petitioned. The village then took it up on one of their meetings. The village adopted the petition. Once the village adopts that petition, this board is required to conduct a hearing, and this board did conduct right now, I think, even though it was public participation, I think this is the third hour we've listened to this, which is an extensive hearing on annexation. I don't recall ever seeing an annexation that has been argued this much, where this board has allowed these people. It's been argued at the initial meeting in October. Well, first of all, it was at government ops, so it's been at 4 meetings so far, 2 committee meetings and 2 full board meetings. The people have been allowed to speak. There was a published hearing, so the village published this hearing, which was in October. It met the statutory requirement for publication. At that meeting, it failed, and under your rules, it was taken up on reconsideration on government ops about 2 weeks ago. In fact, it was better than published. It was on the front page of the Macomb Daily 2 weeks ago. And then we've had this hearing again today, and that's where we listen to all the communities. So right now, you're under your rules are reconsidering this petition for annexation under MCL 74.6, which was petitioned by the property owners, approved by the village, and is now before this board. We've heard some of the things here. I mean, I ran some of the numbers. I went over it. The amount of fire and advanced millage revenue that will be lost will be 6/1,000ths of their millage. That's 0.006. I ran those numbers myself when I was reviewing the petition after the last. It's about $7,785.80 a year. In addition to that, and we could look at what can happen in the future. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but right now, this property will still pay the general millage for the township. Until and if it becomes a city, that'll change, but we don't know what's going to happen with that. So they'll still get the millage, and the property assessment will increase. So the millage, some of these arguments we hear, I don't want to get too involved. I just wanted to put some of the facts, and I think that was a fact that. So I reviewed this. There was an issue originally. By the way, I also walked this property. I learned I used to work at O'Reilly Rancilio, and Paul O'Reilly told me whenever you're working on a property case, always go and look at it. So I met the parties there. I went and walked it. I mean, there's areas of this property where you look at it and it's a field. It's like a field I used to go pheasant hunting in right now. And it's been that way for years. And they're parking trucks on some, part of it. What's proposed here is to get industrial development on this parcel. So I reviewed it. We had to make some changes to it. The changes were made. I believe I reviewed the legality of it. The petition is legal. The proposal that you have before you complies with the law, and it's your consideration as to what to do with it.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Haw.
I believe Commissioners there. Thank you. I'm going to make a motion to adopt Resolution 2022-8239. Resolution, thank you, and order of determination approving the Village of Romeo's petition for annexation of property from Armada Township.
Is there a second?
I was up to speak first, wasn't I?
You need a motion before you can speak.
Go ahead, Commissioner Zare. Go ahead.
Thank you.
All right, your turn, Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. There's been, I don't
Before we
really.
get, this
Yes,
is a
sir.
discussion amongst the commissioners. Is that correct, Counsel? Please speak to that.
That's correct. You've already conducted a public hearing. Like I said, you had 3 hours basically of listening to people discuss this. The public hearing was closed, and it's for the commissioners' discussion now.
Yes.
Okay.
Originally, when this was brought to us, I believe the chair said that the north needed to have industry up in the north. Well, on Armada, that's an open area, and there seems to be this problem with the people who live there. Bruce Township people have problems, Armada Township people have problems, and I learned that, as was said, the Bruce Township has an industrial area, it's zoned industrial, it has water, it has sewer, that was said. The annexation, if that continues, the question is that going to just be there? Is it going to go other places? Another concern is there's been explanation about what Chet needs. It seems very simple. Mr. Patrick is his explanation and others. There's water that can be done. It says it could be done. They could do it in a month. It seems simple to me. I don't know. Of course, I don't do those things, but it seems like a simple a way to solve the problem. To me, it seems as if taking the rights of people in Armada would be what would happen if we voted for the annexation. I don't think that's the right thing to do when you have an industrial area to go to for industry, if that is what the case was, as it was stated in the beginning of all this. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Zinner. Commissioner Zong.
Thank you, Chair. May I ask our corporate counsel a question?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Frank, regarding the M.L.C., does the property have to be adjacent?
Yeah, it has to be contiguous, so it can cross the road, so it crosses Powell Road, and that's why one of the property owners did not consent to the petition, and that's why there's that peninsula of land for the township. And that was one of the legal issues we had to work out. I would not recommend presenting it to this board without that solution, and that was the solution, and that fixes the problem. And I also talked to the state about that in advance, and they indicated that we would need to do that. So those legal issues were resolved prior to bringing it to this board.
Okay, thank you for your clarification. My other question is, how long does it take for a village to become a city?
There is no time.
What's the average?
It usually is a time-consuming and lengthy process. It's not something that's done lightly. I used to work at O'Reilly's, and he had the certificate when Sterling Heights became a city. It was a very complicated process. It takes time. It's not something done lightly.
Okay. And are there additional resources that would have to be put towards the creation of a city?
Well, it's a change in the form of government, so it's more of that, but it also affects the residents. Again, this is something the residents have to look at.
Like there's costs associated?
Right, that's correct. But there's benefits and there's costs, and that's what the residents really, and their elected representatives have to make decisions on. It's not really our decision, it's their decision.
Okay, one last question. This property is in Armada, and you stated that the property doesn't belong to the township or the village. It belongs to the property owner. But because it is in Armada, doesn't the township have any say in that petition?
The township has the right to come here and say what they said. But they have no. The petition is the board's decision to decide. You have the say in the petition. The township puts its argument forward, but the point is that this isn't stealing property from the owners. The owners asked for this. It's their property. they're agreeing, and they know when they ask for this, they're going to have to pay more for this, but they want to pay more because they want this. In other words, they want to have access to those services to better develop their property.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Song. Anyone else want to speak on this item? Seeing none? What was there? Oh, Frank, you gave me a look. I didn't see you on the list.
The look was, I'm sorry.
Okay, very good. Go ahead, Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Frank, I'm confused on a couple of things. I thought that 2019 was a turn down. That was an accepted annexation.
Yes, it was the property south of this. I think it was the...
Same owner?
Same owner.
And did we do one that we rejected? Or was I just thinking at the time, oh, it came back again because I couldn't remember? So it was, so the property south, the property next to it was annexed. Is there, like, is this the end? Is this it? Is, like they said, are we going to have more and then more and then more?
Again, we're predicting future. I haven't, there's no way.
But there's a possibility of that with respect to the same property owner? I mean, there's more land there.
The property
same
owners
property
have the
owner.
right to petition for annexation.
Yeah, I guess my question is, the same landowner has more property next to that. That was what I was wondering.
We have not discussed that. That wasn't part of this, and I don't...
You don't know if he has property next to it?
No, from what I understand, this is what he wanted annexed to be developed, not any other property. I don't know if he
No, I
has
was
any
just
other.
curious because we had the 2019 and then this one, and we went through the whole thing in 2019, and if it was something that was already a thought process, it would be, to me,
2019
not-
was a different community, too. It was Ray, I think,
Okay.
Ray Township.
okay. All right, that clarifies what I was curious about. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kleinfeld. Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. You know, I've been a consistent no on this matter for quite some time. I've looked at this item inside and out, and I'm at the point now where, based on the numbers, based on where the taxes are at, based on where the property owner is, and I appreciate all the residents coming out and talking about this. I really do, because I think public participation is important in these types of matters. But I really think this is in the best interest of Armada Township at this point. I think your tax revenue, based on the numbers that I'm seeing, you're going to have more tax base. The property owners tried to do everything in this matter to work this out. And I mean, even tonight, Supervisor, you came up and talked about, you know, we can just do this tomorrow. Well, it's been going on for years and years and years. You know, I don't like when the county has to get involved in these local issues, because these are really local matters that need to be handled. But I really don't see a solution to this matter any way else at this point. So I just wanted to say that publicly, that I'm going to be supporting this tonight. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Sabatini. Anyone else?
I don't speak once.
Okay, good.
Calm yourself down over
All right, thank you. All right, hearing none, a motion's been made and supported. Please call the roll, or please vote. The totals will be on your screen, so if you're looking.
Motion passes 13-0.
Motion's approved.
Motion passes 12-1 with Commissioner Zinner voting no.
Okay, thank you. Item 10B, Resolution 2022-8265, in opposition to imposition of Highland Park's water and sewer debt for Macomb County residents and businesses. Can I need a motion, Commissioner Sabatini?
Support.
Motion moved. Now we'll just roll.
No, we're missing it.
Romano made a motion, supported by Commissioner Kraft. Any discussion on this item, Commissioner Sabatini?
Thank you, Chair.
On the water and sewer?
No, I mean, I think the resolution speaks for itself. We talked about this in committee in quite, in detail. It was unanimous in committee. I expect to be unanimous tonight. I think we're all in agreement to this issue, and just supporting the communities and getting this out so other communities can pass similar resolutions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay, thank you. Item 11, waived by records. Excuse me. Item 11, items waived from Records and Public Safety Committee Chair. We have a request for outside counsel, Timothy S. Ferrand and Cummings, McClorey, Davis, and Acho for the Gretchen Whitmer on behalf of the state of Michigan versus James Linderman, prosecuting attorney, et cetera, et cetera. Commissioner, Prosecutor Lucido.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board.
Well, hold on, before we, I'm sorry, Commissioners, I'm slapping the app.
Support by Nard.
Motion, thank you. Motion's been made and supported by Commissioner Nard to approve. All right, you can proceed, Commissioner, Prosecutor Lucido.
Thank you. Again, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. I appreciate the fact that there's a waiver to the full board. Thank you, Mr. Romano. Commissioner Romano, I appreciate that. There's only one exception. This $10,000, with all due respect, that would be 40 hours of worth of work. And I don't know what it's going to take. 13 prosecutors got served with lawsuit in the state of Michigan on an issue that, whether or not it's ripe or not, whether or not the jurisdiction is right, and whether or not everything else that we gave you to help you make your decision. But it's unfortunate that I have to do what the statute says it's got to be done. I was sued in my capacity, my official capacity as the prosecutor. And I have a statute that provides that I have to have counsel. And we have a counsel here in the county, but this is going to go outside for reasons that you all know. And I'm standing here tonight because the decision was made by the Corporation Counsel. To go ahead and have counsel is why we're here. Again, I do think that you have in front of you, Tim Ferrand, if you're not familiar, has been doing municipal work, county work for 55 years, his law firm. It's Cummings McClorey is the name of the firm. There was a complete analysis of $200 an hour, $210, and you know, he doesn't charge for the full travel time, et cetera, what have you. In fact, it was John Shepka, the Corporation Counsel of this county, who had made a recommendation to Mr. Ferrand. I am familiar with him from the beginning of time with Mr. Ferrand. He's a great lawyer, and I feel very confident in his representation. Does anybody have any questions, Mr. Chairman? I stand ready to answer them.
Thank you. Commissioner Romano.
Thank you, Chair. Prosecutor Lucido, just so that you understand, that $10,000 isn't your cap.
No.
That $10,000 is to answer these proceedings only. No, there's no doubt in my mind, if it goes any further, and it may or may not, but if it continues further and you need still continuing outside counsel, there's nothing saying you can't come before us again that we won't approve the additional funds.
And I
That's the only
appreciate
reason for it.
that. And
Okay.
I do understand that from the beginning of time. Unfortunately, though, time is of the essence. This has to be filed by next week. The answer's due. Now, whether or not we're going to answer it or file a motion to dismiss based on some technicalities, that might be the way it's going to be played. But again, I've got to go along with my advice of counsel.
Thank you. But 10,000 will get you started, right?
A little gas in the tank always got me down the road. The reality is I know that it may need a full tank of gas based on outside counsel coming in from New York as well as California in this matter. And they're asking to immediately take it to the Supreme Court. So there's things that are going on that is going to get decided. I know today the Detroit News had a nice article that could be of benefit to all of you as to why this lawsuit was done and what they're doing regarding the 13 prosecutors that were served in the state.
Thank you. Commissioner Matuzik.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Not really a question. Statement. We pay a lot of money for attorneys in this county. a lot. We fund the Corp Counsel office, which now can't be used because frankly, some of your comments and actions seems pretty clear to me. We fund your office, full of lots and lots of very competent attorneys. I asked around. Some of the 13 prosecutors are hiring outside counsel. Some are doing it from their own office. There's 13 of you. You're going to basically make the same arguments. If we don't hire an outside attorney for you, sign on to somebody else's argument. You're all good at this stuff. You don't have any brilliant new ideas, and if you do, you can share them amongst yourself. I'm voting no on this. We pay for attorneys. Your office is quite capable of handling this on its own, and I'm just not willing to spend any more taxpayer money on attorneys. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Matuzik. Commissioner Clanfield.
Thank you. When we did this with Prosecutor Smith, it was a bypass on a Friday only for the first answer to it. And then the following Monday, his attorney came before us and said that particular matter, it was a FOIA matter, would be wrapped up by the end of the week. So we approved it through the end of the week. And that 1 week, the bill was $10,000. And I learned something from that. I said, well, you know, I didn't even agree with him on the issue. I thought he should lose in the case, but I gave him the attorney and it cost $10,000 for 1 week, which really bothers me. So what I'm struggling with here is, first of all, the number of prosecutors being sued. I went right to that. I went right to, wait a second, is every single one of these prosecutors going to be leading the charge and having an attorney and spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to have, for really the same purpose? That doesn't seem to make sense to me. Where we are in this stage, it doesn't mean that that money may not need to be given in the future. We're at the stage of answering the initial question. That's it. That's what we are at, answering the initial question. It seems to me this particular stage of the case could be handled in-house, and then we see where it goes from there. But here's my concern. This whole messed up between you and Corp Counsel, and I'm not assessing blame your direction.
Well, that's good. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I see what he did, and I see your concern with it. I also see the way that you interact with him when you're in your correspondence. Not exactly honey, a little bit more like vinegar, and I know that you're angry with him for the statements. But this is just one case. It's going to be case after case after case. Every time you're sued from now on, if we do this, we're going to have to hire a private prosecutor to handle the case because of this hot mess that is now going on. And I don't know how that gets fixed. But what I do know is I'm not going to vote time and time and time again. Every time you're sued by a defendant or something, we're going to have to be hiring outside counsel. This is new. It's unusual. And it isn't even because it's a fight between you and the county executive, which was what the Eric Smith thing was. So now we're in a quandary. Now we can no longer use Corp Counsel, and we have to spend a lot of money, and I'm really struggling with that.
May I respond?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Initially, I had two options. One is to live by the decision of the County Board of Commissioners and walk away and do nothing. This is the initial lawsuit that all of you, and I thank you all for filing your amicus brief. But I want to tell you, that wasn't my battle. That battle was embedded in a charter that's been debated in this chamber for many, many years. And thank you that it's been resolved with 3 Court of Appeals judges that took the time and gave an opinion that's longer than our charter itself and went ahead and published it, which means it's the law. In addition, I had no other choices when the money was taken and put into the account and impounded and kept without giving the services to the taxpayer. That I needed an outside counsel because it was an inherent conflict of interest to have the corporation counsel who represents all of the countywide elects, all of them. It's embedded in the charter. Today, that battle wasn't a battle, it was clarity of the charter. I wanted to make sure before I moved forward that I had clarity because it wasn't clear in the last 11 years in this chamber.
Oh, I think there's confusion. I supported you in that.
Thank
I'm
you.
not talking about that.
Now let's move,
So
because I brought in Mr.
supported you
Perkins.
100%.
I brought in
It's the
Mr.
fallout.
Perkins. I asked for 90 because I didn't know how long this was going to take and whether or not we're going to go to the Supreme Court on 3 decisions that justices have already made. And that still may be done. But at least Mr. Perkins came before you when I was out of town and said.
Right, but I'm not, I supported you in that. That was not what I was talking about.
So
I'm talking
today-
about the fallout after that. Now that the relationship you have with Corp Counsel and Corp Counsel has with you, now we're in a situation where he's not ever going to be able to represent you. I don't see unless the two of you get together and do a group hug of some sort, I don't see getting there. And what I'm saying is, as a county commissioner, I'm kind of saying I'm not okay with that. I don't care what the issue is between the two of you. I don't want to use taxpayer dollars to pay for an outside counsel on something he should be able to help you out on. This is separate from the first one. I agreed with you 100% on that.
Thank you.
So I don't want to confuse the two. This is day one. This is case one of what I see as many cases to come based on the letters that I saw from you, the letter that I saw from him, the things that were in the newspapers. So that's a concern. And by the way, this is not Mr. Ferrand right here. Mr. Ferrand's not here, correct?
He's not.
Okay, because I thought, okay, boy, he changed his appearance a whole lot. I'm just joking. I was like, I know Mr. Ferrand's not here.
I apologize. You know, Mr. Chairman, I did not. This is my chief assistant, Don Frizard. Don was the chief assistant at Wayne County. I brought him tonight.
I recognize him. I was just looking around for Mr. Ferrand because I didn't see him. But so I wanted you to understand, this is day one of this lawsuit, and it's simply a formality, and I made the mistake of approving an attorney for a formality last time, and that cost $10,000 for what should have been a single response. And I'm not prepared to do that again. I'd like to see you and Shepka get in a room together and figure something out so that we don't have to.
I thought he was going to be here, Mr. Chairman, because with all due respect, this is a routine matter that Corporation Counsel may be able to undertake. Unfortunately, he's not here to respond for himself, so I won't speak for him. And it was only after those 2 statements were made about the Office of the Prosecutor as well as the case itself, which he is not a litigant in that case. He should have deferred it to the lawyers that it was deferred to.
Right,
that it was handling
and I
matter.
don't want to go through all that because what I don't want to do is make it worse, make whatever's happened worse. So I hear what you're saying, and I read what you're saying.
Thank you.
Okay,
I just
thank
don't.
you.
I'm sorry.
I said,
I
sorry.
will wrap it up, but don't tell me to stop.
I'm not telling you to
I'm
stop 'em.
wrapping it. Well, you're not letting me talk. You keep talking. I don't know what's going on.
I'm thanking you.
Okay,
For the
so,
insight
I don't know how you guys get there. I'd like to see it. That's why I don't want you to talk about it here. But because this is the beginning of the case, I'm not saying you may not need money down the road, but with this many prosecutors, I don't think it should be thousands and thousands for each one. So I'm not there yet, but I may be in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kleinfeld. You said it's an administrative matter, simple matter.
No, wait a minute, Mr. Chairman. Make no mistakes about it. Nothing simple when the governor's bringing a lawsuit on behalf of the state of Michigan.
I'm just saying, but to handle it's a simple thing. To us commoners, we figured it shouldn't take 20 minutes probably to sign a form and send it off that you responded. Shouldn't take $10,000 to do that initially. That's what the board's thoughts are on offering $10,000.
So am I to assume that today it would be, because this is a very specialized area, the prosecutors in Macomb County are not are not skilled in the area of civil proceedings, and that's what this is. They're not skilled to be doing this type of work. That's why we have Corporation Counsel outlined within the charter as to his duties and responsibilities. That's why we have 5 lawyers up there plus Corporation Counsel.
Okay. Commissioner Zong.
Thank you, Chair. I find it, and by the way, this is not $10,000. On page 2 of the BOC recommendation, it says up to $90,000. So, and I don't see really this
That's
going.
not right.
Is there page 2, $90,000?
Oh, sorry, Commissioner Zong. That's what the prosecutor asked for.
Okay,
The chair and we
Reduced it?
made it 10,000
okay.
initially.
So I get that this is initial, but I find it really ironic that we just had a volunteer reception downstairs where we recognized dozens of volunteers who are doing great things in the community, and how many meals can this $10,000 feed for our seniors? How many preschool spots could this pay for? And that the fact that we have homeless people in our county and these volunteers are working their butts off finding shelter for them, I don't think that we should be spending taxpayer dollars on this. So I'll be voting no. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Song. Commissioner Zinner.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate what Commissioner Song said, but since Corporation Counsel doesn't want to deal with the prosecutor, he doesn't want to take this on, I think that he has to have counsel. Yes, he's a lawyer, and the other lawyers, they're lawyers, but think of if this was something that was done to you. I mean, I realize we're not lawyers, but I think you want to go to a professional. I mean, I know this sounds trite, but every TV show, when the person's a lawyer and they're supposed to be in trouble, they say, it's a fool for a lawyer to take it on himself, which maybe in real life doesn't matter. I have no idea. But I mean, it just seems like if it's a major matter, you would want to have a good lawyer for at least X amount of time to help you with your case. And this is a major matter. And the Corporation Counsel or the executive, the situation, I don't think, it's never been good for the prosecutor since he started here. I don't see that it's going to be, they're going to be having cupcakes together, so, or maybe they will be, I hope they will be. But I think he should get the help that he needs, just like when we need help too. Thank you, Chair.
Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you, Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Years ago, we used to have, I don't know if this changed, we used to have Corporation Counsel, someone from Corporation Counsel always attend our full board meetings. I don't know when that ever got changed, but we probably should go back to that, just because, I may, or someone on this board may have a question right now for counsel, and we can't ask that question, and we have to make a decision this evening for our prosecutor. He's here to discuss the matter, and I'm not going to get in the middle of this. I'm not. But what I'm trying to say is I think that going forward, I think that should be our prerogative as we have in the past, Chair. And I don't know when that changed, but I think that should happen. Now, what also could happen here is Corporation Counsel could take this on and say, I can't handle this and I need to contract this out to a firm or to someone else. So that could be a possibility here too, but we don't know that. So at this point right now, I'm torn because we have a prosecutor that needs counsel. So I'm going to support that. I don't have an issue supporting that whatsoever because we have to protect our prosecutor. We have to give him that counsel. But I do think this brings up something that, used to happen with this board that I haven't seen since I've been back. And I think that should be revisited again. Now, some of the commissioners are smiling at me over here. Maybe they know something I don't know, but I'm just bringing it out. So, thank you, Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I just handed out, if you will.
Yes.
This is very important because this is the law, and I thank you, Commissioner Sabatini. This isn't I had nothing to do with the governor suing the prosecutors of the state. But what I do have for you is, I have a copy of the charter, and I also have the section of the statute that I rely on, which is 49.73. You all were given a copy. It says in here that if the prosecutor's been sued and is a response of his duties, in the course of his duties as the prosecutor, I did nothing in here but was named as the prosecutor of Macomb County, then the county corporation counsel, if unable to act in the official capacity, then the official capacity must be given to outside counsel, and shall is the word, must receive counsel. This isn't, may or whatever else. I don't believe it's in the best interest of this county if the prosecuting office is going to respond to these pleadings and do what I would think is the right thing to do, because I may be wrong. And as such, that's why you go to the experts that are in municipal law, that have the authority, the ability, and the tenacity to go ahead and do what's necessary, and they also have insurance.
Thank you, Prosecutor.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner
Mr. Chair, if I could just
please,
say
go
something
ahead.
really quick with what the prosecutor just said. He's absolutely correct, because I don't know who asked this. What commissioner asked the prosecutor to just handle this in-house, but he could make a mistake on the behalf of this county without any counsel. That's very, very true. So, I have no problem supporting this matter. I just wanted to say that because based on what he did just hand out, he's absolutely correct. There's no mays in there. There's shells all over the place. So,
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to agree with Commissioner Zong that I'd like to spend that $10,000 another way. But the fact of the matter is, we didn't start this fight. It was thrust upon us, and we need to defend our prosecutor.
Thank you.
So we need to pass this resolution.
Thank you. I see no other speakers. Anyone else want to be heard?
There's 2 speakers.
I don't see it. All right, go ahead.
Somebody else.
Sticky Whitman. All right, go ahead, Commissioner Nard first, and then whoever's next.
I just want to echo Commissioner Van Sickle. I do agree with Commissioner Song. We could find other ways to spend the money, but this is our prosecutor, and as a board, I think we need to show solidarity to our own. We need to protect his rights. I mean, we don't want him to say, hey, let's let the other 13 do it, but if they're not skilled in that area, I wouldn't want anybody, if I was going through something, just to tell me, okay, well, just handle it the best way you can. I would want that support, and so I do offer you support at this time.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Nard. Commissioner Matuzik.
There are 13 prosecutorial offices being served, not individuals for an individual action you took. These 13 are being sued for exactly the same thing, exactly the same cases. There is no reason that the 13 of you can't work together, share resources, share time, and have a unified response. I don't understand. We are not part of this suit because you individually did something.
That's right.
It's the office that's being sued. 13 of the same offices with the same words in exactly the same way. The responses are going to be pretty much exactly the same. And if people have brilliant ideas, then you have to share those brilliant ideas with the other 13. But I think there are 13 counties having this discussion, and it's an incredible waste of taxpayer money.
Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, Commissioner, 7 of the prosecutors have signed a letter already saying that they will go along with the governor. That is not my position. I was chosen as the prosecutor by the voters to look at every case on their individual basis, not to wholesale justice, and to make sure that every element of the crime is adhered to so that charges could be brought. Those other prosecutors said, we will not prosecute the case.
That still leaves 6.
That's 6 people that I don't even know They're from all other parts of the state. They're not from this area of what's called Southeast Michigan. They're up north. I don't know how they're going to respond, how their lawyers are going to respond. I would like the individualism as it relates to this case specifically so that we are in safe harbor and all of us are protected in this county.
Thank you, Prosecutor. Thank you, Commissioner Matusek. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, there's been a motion to approve. It's been made and supported. Please vote.
Motion passes 8-5. Commissioners Haw, Kleinfeld, Matusek, Wallace, and Song voting no.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lucido. Appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the commission.
Item number 12, these Health and Human Services Committee recommendations. I can have a motion for item 12A through E.
Matusek moves. Whoever.
Support by Sabatini. Is there any discussion on these items?
Mr. Chair, point of order, do we have to do a separate motion for 12A? Or no?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
It says receive and file, so it's a different motion.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll make the motion to receive and file 12A.
very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman of the Health Services Committee.
I'm still awake.
Thank you, very good. All right, there's a motion made and supported. Please vote.
And it's Don's trying to push us out the door.
And I know my crowd.
Motion passes 12-0.
Mr. Chair, I'm happy to make a motion to approve items 12, B, C, D, and E together.
Thank you. Motion's made and supported. Any discussion on that item? Please vote. Bring my screen back. It's off. I lost the agenda. Okay. You call the vote?
Commissioners, I know your vote didn't come through. Yes, thank you. Motion passes 12-0.
All right, thank you. Item 13, Internal Services Committee. Can I have a vote on items A through G?
Chair, I'd like to take F and G separately.
What item, please?
I would like to take F and G separately.
Okay, we'll separate those. I have a motion on 13A through E. Is there any discussion on any of those items?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Regarding 13C?
Oh, you want 13C, F, and G?
No, I just have a question on C. We could take those
Okay, go
together.
ahead.
I'll motion A through E.
Okay.
Support.
Any discussion on that item?
She has a question.
Yes.
On C, I thought. Who's on first, who's on second? We gotta get rid of these things.
It's together. A through E, my question is regarding C.
All right, please.
Purchase AT&T county cell phones. And I'm sorry I'm asking this question now because I wasn't aware when this was in committee, but I called an old phone number that was for a clerk, and the voicemail was still active for the former clerk. So I'm just wondering, like, how many county is probably still paying for that account? And maybe staff, Kyle, can give some insight on that, because we had a discussion on it.
Well, we'll research that and get the information to you, all right?
I did ask Jake, he has not responded.
Yeah. He did ask the staff, asked the IT department. He's waiting for a response, hasn't had a response yet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Song. Any other questions on those items? All right, please vote.
I'm not getting it. I'll say yes.
Motion passes 12-0.
Okay. Now I need a motion on F and G, is that correct?
So move, Hall.
Support.
Commissioner Song? Do you have a question on those? No? Okay. All right. All right. Any discussion on those items? Please vote.
Motion passes 11-1 with Commissioner Song voting no.
Thank you. Item 14A, or 14, Records and Public Safety Committee recommendations.
Chair, I'll move 14A through J.
Support.
Okay, any discussion on any of those items? I see none on the sheet. All those, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Item 15, Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee recommendations. I need a motion on, needed a motion on item 15A to receive and file the statutory deadline report
So
from
moved.
equalization. Moved by Van Sickle, supported by Commissioner Kleinfeld. Any discussion on that item? Seeing none, please vote.
Sorry. Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. I'll take a motion on item 15B, C, and D.
So moved, Sabatini.
Support.
Any discussion on that item? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Very good, thank you. Item 16, Public Services Committee recommendations. I need a motion to receive to receive and file item 16A.
So move.
Support.
Any discussion on that one? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for items 16B through F.
So moved, Sabatini.
Support.
Very good. Any discussion on any of those items? Please vote. Veronica, look at my screen. It's black. Do you have the vote?
Commissioner Howe, your vote didn't come through. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Item 17, proclamations. Proclamation honoring war and concert band in the 50th anniversary, offered by Commissioner Nard and Song.
So moved.
Support.
Going to play us a tune?
No.
No, you can come and listen
No
to
time
them,
for
though.
music. Item, please vote. Item 18, correspondence, item A and B. Can I have motions to approve those, or receive and file those?
Moved by Kleinfeld.
Support.
Any discussion?
Excuse me, Chair, on the smart,
Microphone.
I just want to make sure how I vote on
Microphone.
We can't hear you.
I'm sorry, on the smart? Oh, this
Yes.
is opting out.
It was a correspondence from their board letting us know what they want to do regarding the smart millage.
I want to make sure that I understood how to,
Yeah, it's a receive and file. They're just talking to us. We don't have any, we're not making any decisions.
All right, thank you so much.
All right. Please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
All right. Item 19, public participation. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? How about our staff person? Any comments? Yeah, it's pretty You're going to get nightmares watching us. Anyone else from the public wish to be heard? Seeing no one from the public, will close public participation. Commissioner comments. Any commissioner comments?
I don't think so.
Commissioner Haw.
This is going to be real quick due to the time that we've spent here this evening, but if I recall correctly, Commissioner Sabatini made the comment he didn't know there were so many comedians on this board. I think he does now. Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
There's so many what?
Very good. Yeah, it was very good. I also haven't been to a meeting this long in 20 years.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you very much. Any other comments?
Support.
All right, all those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Have a good evening.